The public humiliation happened under a row of paper suns taped to the daycare windows, with 12 parents watching me realize my daughter was gone. My husband had let his mistress sign Lyra out of preschool, and the woman came back holding my child's hand like she had earned the right. I did not scream. I took one picture of the pickup log, pressed record on my phone, and asked the director to say Sloane Vale's name again. The public humiliation happened under a row of paper suns taped to the daycare windows, with 12 parents watching me realize my daughter was gone. My husband had let his mistress sign Lyra out of preschool, and the woman came back holding my child's hand like she had earned the right. I did not scream. I took one picture of the pickup log, pressed record on my phone, and asked the director to say Sloane Vale's name again. June Calder, the director of Maple Finch Early Learning, blinked at my phone as if the small black lens had teeth. "Mrs. Rusk," she said. "Carefully, I understand this is upsetting." "No," I said. My voice sounded too calm for what was happening inside me. "You don't understand yet. My 4-year-old daughter was released to a woman I did not authorize. Say her name." The reception area went still behind me. A father in a navy fleece stopped fastening his son's tiny backpack. A mother with a stroller looked down, pretending not to listen while clearly listening to every word. Somewhere beyond the half wall, children sang a goodbye song off-key, bright and careless. June swallowed. Sloane Vale. "And how is Sloane Vale listed?" June's hand hovered over the tablet mounted near the front desk. "She was added as a family friend." "By whom?" "Your husband." My thumb tightened around my phone. "Callan Rusk added his mistress to my daughter's pickup list." June's face drained of color. "We don't have information about personal relationships. You have information about authorization," I said. "You have information about identity. You have information about whether a child leaves this building with someone her mother has never approved." At that exact moment, the front door opened. Cold afternoon air swept in, carrying the smell of damp pavement and someone's expensive perfume. Sloane Vale stepped through the doorway wearing a cream coat I had seen in a hotel lobby receipt 2 months earlier. Although I had not understood what it meant then, her hair was smooth and dark, tucked behind one ear, her mouth curved in. The small, private smile of a person who believed she had already won. In her left hand, she held Lyra's purple backpack. In her right, she held my daughter's hand. For half a second, my vision narrowed until there was only Lyra, her pink sneakers, her cloud print leggings, the small barrette shaped like a strawberry that I had clipped into her curls that morning while she ate toast with honey. Her eyes lit up when she saw me, but not in her usual way. There was relief there, a flicker of confusion, then a look that asked a question she was too young to form. "Mommy," she said. I stepped toward her, lowered myself to her height, and opened my arms. She let go of Sloane immediately and ran into me. I held her so tightly she squeaked. "Did you have snack?" I asked, because I needed her to hear normal words. Safe words, mother words, graham crackers, she said into my shoulder. "Good." Sloane said we were getting cupcakes. I lifted my eyes. Sloane smiled wider. It was going to be a surprise. "Don't speak to my child," I said. Her smile faltered for only a second. Then she glanced around at the other parents and softened her expression into something wounded. "Briar, I know this is awkward, but Callan said you were running late. He asked me to help." I stood slowly, Lyra pressed against my side. "I was not running late." Sloane's eyes flicked to June. "That's not what I was told." "Then you were lied to." The father in the navy fleece quietly pulled his son closer. Sloane noticed. Of course she did. Women like Sloane lived by rooms. She measured air. She adjusted performance. Her chin dipped. Her voice lowered. "I'm sorry you feel blindsided," she said. "But Lyra knows me. She was perfectly safe." The sentence hit harder than the sight of her hand around my daughter's. "Lyra knows me. Not I met her once. Not Callan introduced us by accident. Not even I thought you knew. Lyra knows me." I turned to June. "How many times has this woman been here?" June did not answer fast enough. The air in the lobby changed. "Sloane," I said, still looking at June, "has picked up my daughter before." June's lips parted. "There were 2 previous occasions when Mr. Rusk approved a pickup change." My daughter's cheek rested against my coat. She had gone quiet. 2 previous occasions. A strange, cold line formed down the center of me. On one side was pain, on the other was procedure. Procedure 1. "I want copies of the pickup logs," I said, "all of them, today and the previous dates." I want the authorization change history. I want the email or written request my husband sent. I want the security footage from the front entrance and reception area preserved immediately. June stiffened. We can't release footage without following privacy policy. I said preserved. I replied. Not released. You will preserve it before it cycles out. I'm requesting that now. On record. I tilted my phone slightly. June's gaze dropped to it again. Sloane let out a soft laugh. The kind designed to make me look hysterical. This is really unnecessary. Callan is her father. And I am her mother, I said. The one who filled out her enrollment forms. The one who listed emergency contacts. The one who told this school in writing that pickup changes must be confirmed with me if they involve anyone outside immediate family. June's face changed. There it was, memory. I had written that note in September after a story on the news about a custody dispute at another preschool. I remembered Callan teasing me at the kitchen island. You plan for disasters like you're writing legal thrillers. He had said. I had laughed then. I was not laughing now. June turned to the computer. Mrs. Rusk, could you step into my office? No, Sloane said quickly. It was the first honest sound she made. I looked at her. Her hand tightened around the strap of Lyra's backpack. I mean, maybe Callan should be here. This is between the three of you. There is no three, I said. Her cheeks flushed. I took Lyra's backpack out of Sloane's hand. She resisted for 1 second too long. The nylon strap pulled between us, purple and childish and obscene in the middle of grown-up betrayal. Let go, I said. She did. Lyra watched the backpack move from Sloane to me. I saw the tiny wrinkle between her eyebrows and hated every adult in that lobby who had made her carry confusion that did not belong to her. I knelt again. Sweetheart, go stand with Miss Tess for 1 minute. Okay, I'm right here. Tess. Ivia, Lyra's teacher, had appeared near the classroom door. She was young, freckled, and visibly shaken. She held out a hand. Lyra hesitated. I can see you the whole time, I said. 1 minute. Lyra went to Tess but kept looking back. I entered June's office with my phone still recording. Sloane tried to follow. June blocked her. Ms. Vale, please wait outside. I should be included, Sloane said. No, I said from the office doorway. You should leave before I call the police. Her eyes flashed for 1 second. The soft mask cracked. Beneath it was anger. Not embarrassment, not guilt, anger. Like I had taken something from her. Then the mask returned. I'll call Callan, she said. Do that. June closed the office door. The office smelled like paper, coffee, and disinfectant wipes. There were framed certificates on the wall and a bowl of peppermints on the filing cabinet. A child's drawing of a fox was taped crookedly beside the printer. It felt absurd that such a room could hold the first clean break in my life. June sat behind her desk, her hands trembled slightly as she logged into the system. I need to clarify, she said. We had authorization from Mr. Rusk. I need you to clarify whether you had authorization from me. Her eyes moved over the screen. No, read the note on Lyra's file. June clicked. Her face tightened. Read it aloud, I said. Mrs. Rusk, she began. Read it aloud. She inhaled. Any pickup changes involving non-family adults must be confirmed with Briar Rusk directly by phone or written message before release. The words sat between us like evidence already tagged and bagged. Was I called? No. Was I messaged? No. Was my child released to Sloanvale today? Yes. Was my child released to Sloanvale on previous occasions? June clicked again. On April 10th and April 24th, my heart punched once hard against my ribs. April 10th, I had been at a dentist appointment. Callan said he would pick Lyra up. He came home late and told me traffic was bad. April 24th, I had been finishing illustrations for a library commission. Callan said he took Lyra to the park. Sloane had been there. Sloane had touched my child's hand. Sloane had likely bought cupcakes or hair clips or some small, bright bribe. Print the logs, I said. I may need to check with our legal. You can check with your legal after you preserve the footage and print the access logs related to my own child. I'm not leaving without documentation that this happened. June's eyes lifted. Fear had replaced defensiveness. I'm very sorry. Be sorry in writing. She flinched. I did not. My phone buzzed. Callan. I let it ring. It stopped, then started again. June glanced at it. I silenced the second call. A text appeared. Callan. Don't start drama at the school. I stared at the words. Not. Is Lyra okay? Not. I'm sorry. Not. I should have told you. Don't start drama. I took a screenshot. Another text came. Callan. Sloan was doing us a favor. You're embarrassing everyone. I took another screenshot. June's printer hummed. Page 1 came out, page 2, page 3. My marriage made mechanical noises as it became paper. When June handed me the logs, I saw Sloan's signature. Stylish, slanted, confident. Beside it, relationship to child, family friend. I laughed once. It came out dry and sharp. June looked alarmed. Family friend, I said. That's what he called her. I can also give you the time-stamped checkout records, June said quickly. Do. My phone buzzed again. Callan, answer me then. Callan, if you make this ugly, I won't forget it. There he was, the man who forgot dentist appointments, school spirit days, pediatrician forms, and the name of Lyra's favorite stuffed rabbit. Suddenly had a perfect memory for threats. I looked through the office window. Sloan stood near the cubbies, phone pressed to her ear. She was speaking fast, her polished mouth tight. Lyra stood beside Tess, twisting the hem of her shirt. My child looked small, smaller than she had that morning. Something in me shut like a door. I want Sloan Vale removed from any pickup permission immediately, I said. June nodded. We can remove her from the approved list. No, you will suspend all pickup changes requested by Callan Rusk until written clarification from both legal guardians. Lyra leaves with me, and only me, until I provide updated instructions. June hesitated. Mr. Rusk is her father, and this school released her to his mistress against written instructions. Choose your next sentence carefully. The room went quiet except for the printer. June nodded again, slower. We can flag the account for administrative review. For today, Lyra will leave only with you. For today, I'll need our legal team to. For today, I said, I will take what you can confirm in writing. Tomorrow my lawyer will contact you. The word lawyer made her shoulders drop. Understood. When I left the office, Sloan stepped into my path. Callan wants to talk to you. I looked at her phone. His name glowed on the screen. No. She lowered the phone. You don't get to punish him by using Lyra. I stared at her. The lobby had emptied except for Tess, June, the receptionist, and one mother pretending to search her diaper bag. You took my daughter from school without my knowledge, I said. Do not say my child's name like you have rights here. Sloan's face hardened. Callan said you'd react like this. Good, then he knew it was wrong. That landed. I saw it. Her eyes flickered. Lyra ran to me as soon as Tess released her. I lifted her into my arms even though she was getting too big to carry for long. Her legs wrapped around my waist. Her strawberry barrette brushed my chin. Sloan watched us for the first time. She looked unsure. Not sorry, just unsure. Briar, she said quietly, you can't keep pretending Callan and I aren't serious. I shifted Lyra higher on my hip and turned so my daughter's face was against my shoulder, away from Sloan. You can have him, I said. You do not get her. Then I walked out of the daycare with my child, 3 printed pickup logs, 2 screenshots of Callan's threats, 1 recording of June Calder confirming the violation, and a rage so cold it felt like law. The parking lot was full of minivans, chalky puddles, and end-of-day chaos. A little boy cried because his mitten had fallen into the gutter. A grandmother waved through a windshield. Normal life continued with offensive ease. I buckled Lyra into her car seat. Mommy, she asked. Yes, Bug, is Sloan mad? My fingers froze on the buckle. No, I said, then corrected myself because I had promised never to train my daughter to distrust her own senses. She might be, but grown-up feelings are not your job, she said. Daddy said it was okay. I closed my eyes for 1 second, then I opened them. Daddy made a mistake. Am I in trouble? No, my voice broke on the word. I leaned in and kissed her forehead. Never. You did nothing wrong. She said you needed rest. The parking lot sounds dimmed, she said. What? Lyra looked at her shoes. She said sometimes mommies need rest and other people help. She said I could call her if I miss Daddy. My hands went numb. Did she give you a phone? Lyra shook her head. A bracelet. What bracelet? She pulled up her sleeve. Around her wrist was a tiny silver chain with a plastic charm shaped like a moon. I had never seen it before. I unclasped it with fingers that had become very steady. Can I keep it? Lyra asked. I looked at the charm lying in my palm. No, sweetheart. Her lip trembled. I softened my voice. Not because you did anything wrong. Because grown-ups should ask mommy before giving you things that matter. It's pretty. I know. Will Daddy be mad? I put the bracelet into the zip pocket of my purse. Daddy can be mad at me. Lyra considered this, then she whispered, okay, I shut her door and stood beside the car. My phone rang again. Callan. This time I answered. His voice came sharp through the line. What the hell are you doing? I looked through the window at Lyra. She had picked up her stuffed rabbit from the car seat and was pressing its ears to her cheeks. I'm taking my daughter home. Our daughter, he snapped. Then you should have remembered I'm her mother before you sent your girlfriend to collect her like dry cleaning. There was a pause when he spoke again. His voice dropped into the tone he used when investors pushed too hard, smooth, controlled. A warning wrapped in velvet. Don't make this ugly. I watched Sloane step out of the daycare behind June. She looked toward my car but did not approach. You already did, I said. Briar, Sloane was helping. I had a call run late. You were supposed to be at work. I work from home. You know that. You weren't answering earlier. You didn't call me earlier. Another pause. I didn't think I needed permission to arrange pickup for my own daughter. You arranged pickup with your mistress. Don't use that word. What word would you like? Consultant, family friend, emergency contact. Lower your voice. My voice is the least of your problems. He exhaled hard. You're emotional. Drive home. We'll talk. No, what does that mean? It means Lyra and I are not coming home tonight. The silence that followed was the first honest thing he gave me. Then he laughed once, disbelieving. Don't be ridiculous. I'm not. You're taking our child because you're jealous. I'm taking my child because you gave a woman I never authorized access to her school, her hand, her trust, and her sense of safety. She was safe. She was with someone I did not consent to. I consented. And now my lawyer will explain why that does not end the conversation. His breathing changed. Lawyer, yes. Briar, stop. You don't want to go there. I'm already there. In the rearview mirror, Lyra hugged her rabbit tighter. Callan's voice softened. Come on. You're scared. I get it. But don't blow up our family over a misunderstanding. I almost smiled. A misunderstanding was forgetting to pack a nap mat. A misunderstanding was taking the wrong lunchbox. This was a signature on a school pickup log. This was a mistress with a bracelet. This was my daughter asking if she was in trouble because another woman had told her mommy needed rest. There is no misunderstanding, I said. There is a record. Briar, I'll send you my lawyer's contact when I have one. Do not hang up on me. I hung up, then I turned off shared location, then I drove away. I did not go to the marital home with the grey shutters and the herb pots I had planted on the back steps. I did not go to my mother's house, because she loved me but panicked loudly, and Lyra needed quiet. I drove to a small extended stay apartment near the river, the one I had bookmarked months ago without admitting why. Back then, I had called it an emergency option. Tonight, it became a door. The woman at the front desk gave Lyra a coloring page and did not ask why. My hands shook when I handed over my card. In the room, I locked the door, set the chain, and checked the windows. Lyra ate macaroni from a paper bowl while sitting cross-legged on the bed. I let her watch cartoons. I let her spill orange juice. I let the rules bend around the shape of what had happened. When she fell asleep, I sat at the small table by the kitchenette and opened my purse. Pickup logs, screenshots, bracelet, recording. I placed them in a neat line beneath the yellow light. Then I opened my laptop and created a folder. I named it Lyra Safety. Inside it, I made subfolders: school, Callan messages, Sloane contact, financial records, legal. My hands no longer shook. At 10:17 p.m., an email arrived from Maple Finch. Subject: follow-up regarding pickup incident. June had written 3 careful paragraphs. She confirmed Sloane Vale picked up Lyra at 3:11 p.m. Under authorization entered by Callan Rusk, she confirmed Briar Rusk had not been contacted. She confirmed the account would be flagged pending administrative review. She did not say mistress. She did not say violation. She did not say sorry twice. It was enough. For tonight at 10:31 p.m., Callan texted. Callan, tell me where my daughter is. I took a screenshot at 10:32 p.m. Callan, if you keep her from me, this becomes kidnapping. Screenshot at 10:34 p.m. Callan, my mother is worried, you're acting unstable. Screenshot at 10:36 p.m. Callan, Sloane feels terrible. You owe her an apology for threatening her at school for the first time all evening. I laughed. It was quiet and ugly, but it was mine. I opened a new note and typed every detail I remembered, in order. The paper sons, June's first words, Sloane's perfume, Lyra's bracelet, Callan saying lawyer like the word had slapped him. At 11:08 p.m., I searched family law attorneys near me. At 11:22 p.m., I sent 3 inquiry forms at 11:40 p.m. I removed Callan from the shared daycare app password and changed my email password, bank password, cloud password, and the password to the family photo drive at midnight. While my daughter slept beneath a thin hotel blanket, I took off my wedding ring. It left a pale mark on my finger. I put the ring in the same zip pocket as Sloane's bracelet. 1 circle of gold, 1 circle of silver, 1 marriage, 1 warning. My phone lit up again. This time it was not Callan, it was an unknown number. The message contained a picture: Lyra, sitting at a cafe table with a cupcake in front of her, Sloane's hand visible near her shoulder. Under the photo, 1 line: she was happy with me. I stared at the screen until the words stopped looking like language and started looking like evidence. Then I saved the photo. By morning, Callan had called 23 times. I knew because I counted while Lyra slept with 1 hand tucked under her cheek and the other wrapped around her stuffed rabbit. 23 missed calls, 16 texts, 3 voicemails, and 1 message from his mother that began with, "Sweetheart, don't let jealousy turn you into someone bitter." I made coffee in the apartment's tiny machine and burned my tongue on the first sip. Good. Pain kept me present. Lyra woke at 7:12 with her curls flattened on one side. "Is this a hotel?" she asked. "Kind of. Are we on vacation?" I crouched beside the bed. "A little quiet trip. Is Daddy coming?" There it was, the question I could not answer with adult truth. "No, bug, not this morning." Her face folded in slow disappointment. I sat beside her and brushed hair away from her forehead. "You're going to school today. I'll take you in. I'll pick you up. No surprises. No Sloane." My throat tightened. "No Sloane." She nodded with the solemnity of a tiny judge. "Okay." At 8:03, while Lyra ate yogurt from a plastic cup, my phone rang from a number I recognized from one of the attorney websites. "This is Merritt Hale," the woman said. Her voice was low and crisp. "You sent a message last night regarding an unauthorized daycare pickup." "Yes." "Is your child currently with you?" "Yes." "Are you safe?" I looked at the chain lock on the door. "For the moment." "Good. I have a cancellation at 9:30. Can you come in? I need to take my daughter to daycare first. Given the facts you described, I would advise you not to leave her until the school has written restrictions in place." They sent an email flagging the account. "That is not the same as a legal restriction." My hand tightened around the coffee cup. Merritt continued, "Bring your daughter if you need to. Bring every document you have, logs, screenshots, emails, photographs, financial records, anything from the school. Do not communicate with your husband by phone unless you record legally in your state or have a witness. Use text. Keep it short." "Okay." "And Mrs. Rusk, yes, do not threaten. Do not explain too much. People like your husband will use your explanations as material. People like your husband, not wounded men, not confused fathers. People like your husband." A category, a pattern. I had married a pattern and called it Callan. Merritt's office was on the 3rd floor of a brick building above a bakery. The stairwell smelled like sugar and old wood. Lyra clutched her rabbit in one hand and my coat in the other. Merritt Hale was not what I expected. She was small, silver-haired, and wore black-framed glasses on a chain. Her office had no soft family portraits, no inspirational quotes, no fake plants, just shelves, files, and a framed photograph of a rocky coastline in storm weather. She gave Lyra a stack of plain paper and a cup of colored pencils. "You can draw at that table," she said. "Your mother and I will talk right here." Lyra looked at me. I nodded. Merritt waited until my daughter was busy coloring a purple house before she turned to me. "Tell me the timeline." So I did. I told her about the pickup log, June's recording, Sloane's entrance, the bracelet, the texted photo, Callan's threats, the note on Lyra's file requiring confirmation from me, the 2 previous pickups. Merritt did not interrupt except to ask dates. When I finished, she leaned back. "This is not just adultery," she said. "I know. Do you?" The question irritated me. "I know she took my child. She did because he created access. That matters. Courts do not punish adultery the way betrayed spouses want them to. But they care about judgment. They care about a parent introducing a romantic partner into a child's life without consent. They care about unauthorized school pickups. They care about emotional confusion. They care about threats." I swallowed. "He'll say I'm jealous. He already has." I slid my phone across the desk. Merritt read Callan's texts without expression. Then she read the unknown number message with the cafe photo, her mouth tightened slightly. Is this Sloane's number? I don't know, we'll find out. Lyra hummed quietly at the small table. She had drawn a house with a purple door and 3 stick figures outside it. One figure was very tall, one had curly hair, one had no face. I looked away before I could fall apart. Merritt tapped the screen. Today we do several things. First, send a formal notice to the daycare revoking authorization for Sloanvale and requiring dual written consent for any non-parent pickup. Second, notify your husband in writing that the child is safe with you and that all communication regarding pickup must be documented. Third, prepare an emergency filing if he escalates. Fourth, review finances. Men who feel control slipping often reach for money next. I almost told her Callan would not. Then I remembered the hotel receipt, the coat, the cupcake photo, the shared account. I opened my banking app. Merritt watched my face as I scrolled. There were charges I had explained away for months, a boutique hotel near Callan's office, 2 dinners at a restaurant he told me was for investors, a jewelry store, a children's clothing shop, a payment to a party venue on April 24th. The second day Sloane picked up Lyra, my stomach turned. I clicked the charge memo, Moon and Milk Children's Cafe. I pictured the silver moon bracelet. He used our account. I said. Merritt waited. He used the household account to take my daughter and his mistress to a children's cafe. I expected Merritt to show sympathy. She reached for a yellow legal pad instead. Good, she said. I stared at her. Not morally good, she clarified, evidently useful. For the first time since the daycare lobby, warmth moved through the ice in my chest. Evidence. I could survive evidence. It had edges. It could be held. Merritt's assistant drafted the first letter while Lyra asked if lawyers had crayons at home. Merritt answered every question seriously. Some do, she said. I prefer pencils. Why? Harder to erase by accident. Lyra considered that deeply. By 11:15, Maple Finch had received formal notice. By 11:28, June replied that Sloanvale had been removed from Lyra's pickup list pending legal clarification. By 11:41, Merritt sent Callan a short email. Mr. Rusk, Briar Rusk has retained counsel. Lyra is safe and in her mother's care, given the unauthorized third-party daycare pickups and your written threats. All communication regarding Lyra's schedule and access should occur in writing. Do not send third parties to contact Briar or Lyra. Merritt. Hale Family Law. At 11:48, Callan texted me. Callan, you hired a lawyer before talking to your husband. I followed Merritt's instruction. Lyra is safe. Communicate in writing. Callan, stop hiding behind lawyers. Lyra is safe. Communicate in writing. Callan, you are making yourself look insane. Screenshot. Lyra is safe. Communicate in writing. No answer for 4 minutes. Then Callan, fine, you want writing. Bring her home by 6. I showed Merritt. She lifted one eyebrow. He adjusts quickly when watched. Is that good? It means he understands risk. That makes him dangerous in quieter ways. I took Lyra to Maple Finch after lunch only because Merritt called the school first. June met us at the door with red eyes and a folder clutched to her chest. Mrs. Rusk, she said, we've updated the account flag. Lyra is to be released only to you until further notice. Not to Callan. June hesitated. If Mr. Rusk appears, we will call you and request administrative review before release. Merritt had told me not to expect perfection from a school afraid of being sued by both parents, but this was something, a barrier where yesterday there had been an open gate. Tess appeared behind June and knelt for Lyra. Hey, Starfish, we saved you a spot at the paint table. Lyra looked at me. I'll be back before snack pickup, I said. Remember our password, Blue Lantern, she whispered. It was a new rule from the drive over. Anyone who picked her up had to know the password. If they did not, she had to tell a teacher. Right. She hugged me hard. I watched her walk into the classroom, then turned to June. I want written confirmation that Sloane is no longer allowed contact. I'll send it. And I want to know why my file note was ignored. June looked down. We're reviewing internal procedure. That is not an answer. No, she said quietly, it isn't. Behind her, on the classroom wall, children's paintings hung in rows. One was Lyra's from last week. Blue grass, orange sky, a house with a crooked chimney. She had told me the chimney was dancing. I used to think safety was something you could build with lunch labels, car seat straps, bedtime routines, and good neighborhoods. Now safety looked like paper trails. When I returned to the apartment, Callan was waiting outside the building. He leaned against his car, sleeves rolled up, tie loosened. Looking like the exhausted husband in the middle of a misunderstanding, I recognized the costume. He had worn it after missing our anniversary dinner, after forgetting my father's memorial service, after coming home at 2 in the morning smelling like gin and someone else's shampoo. Concerned, rumpled, human manufactured. I stopped 10 feet away. How did you find me? I asked. His eyes moved over my face. Your card charge. The world tilted. You checked the account. It's our account. You tracked where I slept with our daughter. I tracked my wife after she disappeared with my child. I took out my phone and started recording. Callan saw. His expression hardened. Seriously? Yes, you're unbelievable. No, I'm learning. He pushed off the car. Turn it off. No, Briar, no. The word stood between us. Small and absolute. He looked toward the apartment entrance, then lowered his voice. Where is Lyra? At school. So you can leave her at school, but Sloan picking her up for 20 minutes is a federal crime. There it is, I said. What? Your version of safe? Safe means whatever you want at the moment. His jaw flexed. Sloan is not dangerous. She is a stranger to me. She's not a stranger to Lyra. The sentence came out before he could stop it. I saw the regret flash across his face. I stepped closer. How long? Don't do this here. How long has your mistress known my daughter? She is not my mistress. I laughed once. Then what is she? He looked away. A woman with grocery bags slowed near the entrance. Callan noticed and softened his voice. We've been having problems for a long time. No, you've been creating them. You shut me out. I asked you to come to pediatric appointments. You controlled everything. I filled the forms because you didn't know the pediatrician's last name. His face reddened. You always do that, he said. You make me feel like I'm failing. You are failing. The words landed clean. For years I had cushioned every truth so he would not bruise. I had said, you're busy. I had said, I know work is intense. I had said, it's okay. I handled it. I had built him a life where failure had no consequences and called myself supportive. Now consequences stood in an apartment parking lot. Callan stepped closer. I did not move back. You don't get to keep my daughter from me, he said. You do not get to bring Sloan near her. I can introduce Lyra to people in my life, not behind my back, not through school, not by letting your girlfriend pretend she belongs in my child's emergency contacts. She was helping. She told Lyra I needed rest. His face changed just slightly. Enough. You knew, I said. She tries to be kind. To whom? Don't twist this. To whom? Callan. To the child she confused. To the wife she replaced in a pickup line. To herself. His mouth tightened. Sloan cares about Lyra. She has no right to care about Lyra. That's cruel. No, it's a boundary. He stared at me as if the word belonged to a foreign language. Then he tried a different door. Come home, he said. We'll talk without lawyers. We'll set rules. We had rules. You broke them. I made a mistake. You made 3 pickups. He blinked. I held up the folder. April 10th, April 24th. Yesterday. His eyes dropped to the papers. There it was again. The recalculation. I was going to tell you, he said. When? After Lyra started calling her something. His silence hit me like confirmation. My skin went cold. What did Sloan want Lyra to call her? Nothing. Callan, nothing formal. I gripped the folder so hard it bent. Nothing formal, I repeated. He looked pained now, but not with remorse, with annoyance that the truth had become inconvenient. She joked about slow, he said. That's all. I thought of Lyra's small voice. She said I could call her if I missed Daddy. I looked at the man I had married. He had stood beside me in a hospital room when Lyra was born. He had cried when she wrapped her fist around his finger. He had whispered, I'll never let anything touch her. He had meant danger from outside. He had not counted himself. I'm filing for emergency custody restrictions. I said. His head snapped up. You're what? You heard me. You'll lose. Maybe. That unsettled him more than if I had claimed certainty. You're willing to drag Lyra through court because you hate Sloan. I'm willing to go through court because you made our child available to your affair partner. He flinched at affair partner. More legal, less emotional, harder to dismiss. You're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking clearly for the first time in years. He took another step. Briar, I am warning you, if you try to cut my access, I will fight you with everything I have. I held up my phone. Thank you, I said. That was very clear. He looked at the phone, then at me for the first time. Fear crossed his face, not fear of losing me, fear of being recorded as himself. I walked around him toward the entrance. Briar. I stopped but did not turn. She was safe, he said again. I looked back. No, I said. She was lucky. Inside the apartment, I locked the door and sent the recording to Merritt. Then I opened the banking app and created a new personal account at a different bank. My illustration payments would go there from now on. I changed the deposit information for 2 pending invoices. Then I transferred half of the joint liquid savings into an account Merritt had advised me to open for temporary household and child expenses, leaving a clear memo, preservation of marital funds pending legal review at 3:04 p.m. I picked up Lyra at 3:11 p.m. Callan texted. Callan, did you move money? I buckled Lyra's seatbelt at 3:12. Callan, Briar, answer me at 3:13. Callan, you can't just cut me off. I looked at the message, then I looked at my daughter, who was singing softly to her rabbit about a purple door. No, I whispered, but I can stop paying for the knife. Merritt called the authorization history the spine. Stories bend. She told me the next morning, documents don't bend as easily, we build the spine first. So I went back to Maple Finch with a blazer over yesterday's exhaustion and a folder labeled school. I had slept 4 hours. Lyra had slept 9 and woken up asking if pancakes existed in quiet trips. We ate frozen waffles from the apartment toaster and called them hotel pancakes. She accepted this with the mercy of children at the school office. June Calder looked as if she had also slept poorly. I spoke with our legal consultant, she said before I sat down. Good. We can provide you with your child's pickup logs and the account activity report. Security footage must be requested formally through counsel. My lawyer sent that request. Yes, we received it. She slid a folder across the desk. I did not touch it immediately. I want Tess present, I said. June blinked. Miss Ivea is in class. Then I'll wait until coverage is available. Why? Because my daughter's teacher saw Sloane. I want to know what she saw before everyone's memory gets polished by liability. June looked toward the closed office door outside. The school moved in its cheerful rhythm, sneakers squeaking, teachers singing, someone crying over a missing dinosaur. I sat still until June understood I had nowhere else more important to be. 15 minutes later, Tess came in with paint on her wrist. She glanced at June, then at me. I want to help, she said before anyone asked. June's mouth tightened. I liked Tess immediately for making that difficult. Tell me what you remember, I said. Tess sat on the edge of the chair. The first time Ms. Vale came, I thought she was your sister, my sister. She knew Lyra's cubby. She knew her classroom nickname. She had the pickup code. My stomach turned. What pickup code? Tess looked confused. The 4-digit code parents use at the tablet. I turned to June. June's face had gone pale again. Callan gave her the code, I said. June clicked something on her computer. The code was used under Mr. Rusk's profile, but by her hand. We can't confirm whose hand entered it without footage. You can with footage. Silence. Tess leaned forward. Lyra seemed confused the first time, not scared, just like she was waiting for someone to tell her it was okay. Ms. Vale said, Daddy said I'm your special pickup today. My pen stopped. Special pickup. I wrote it down, and the second time, I asked. Tess's eyes flicked to June. June said, you may answer factual questions. Tess exhaled. The second time, Ms. Vale brought a little gift bag. I told her we discourage gifts at pickup. She said it was from Mr. Rusk. Lyra asked if you were coming. Ms. Vale said you were busy and Daddy didn't want you stressed. I felt the room recede. Busy, stressed, rest. They had been making a character out of me, not Mommy, not Briar. A tired, stressed woman who needed replacing in small doses. What was in the bag? I didn't see everything. Maybe hair clips, a bracelet, something shiny. I reached into my purse and took out the moon bracelet sealed in a clear sandwich bag. Tess's eyes widened. That's it. June rubbed her forehead. Was Sloane ever alone with Lyra inside the classroom? I asked. No, Tess said quickly. Not inside, but at pickup, yes. Once she waited near the cubbies while I helped another child. Maybe 2 minutes. 2 minutes, long enough to whisper, long enough to give a child a secret, long enough to plant mommy needs rest, I wrote everything down because if I looked directly at the feelings, I would drown. June slid the folder closer. The account activity report shows Mr. Rusk added MS. Vale on April 9th at 10:42 p.m. April 9th I had been asleep. I remembered because Lyra had a fever that week and I had been up 2 nights in a row. Callan said he would handle the humidifier. He had sat in the kitchen with his laptop while I slept beside our daughter. He had added his mistress to the pickup list while I slept in a fever-warm room with his child. Print that page separately, I said. June did. Was there an email? Yes. She handed me a copy from Callan Rusk to Maple Finch admin, subject, pickup edition. Please add Sloane Vale as an authorized family friend for Lyra Rusk. Briar is aware. Sloane may assist with pickup when work schedules shift. Briar is aware. The lie sat there in black letters. I stared at it until my eyes burned. Tess whispered, I'm sorry. I looked up. She seemed near tears. I did not want her tears. I wanted her witness. Would you be willing to write down what you just told me? I asked. June straightened. Any staff statement needs to go through. Yes, Tess said. June turned to her. Tess, no, Tess said, surprising us both. Her voice shook, but she kept going. I asked if Mrs. Rusk knew. The second time, I asked MS. Vale because Lyra seemed unsure. MS. Vale laughed and said, Briar knows what Callan wants her to know. I thought it was a joke. The office went silent. Briar knows what Callan wants her to know. I wrote that down too, slowly, so my hand would not tear the paper. June closed her eyes. I need that in your statement, I said. Tess nodded. When I left Maple Finch, my folder was heavier. The spine had bones now. Outside, my phone rang. Nola Rusk. Callan's mother had never called before noon unless someone had died or a holiday seating chart needed manipulation. I let it go to voicemail. Then she texted, Nola, Briar, this has gone far enough. Callan is devastated. A decent mother does not use a child as a weapon. I stopped beside my car. A decent mother. I thought of the first week after Lyra was born, when Nola came over and rearranged my kitchen while telling me breastfeeding would be easier if I relaxed into womanhood. I thought of the Christmas she told Callan, in front of everyone, that I was so particular about Lyra's schedule, as if keeping a toddler from melting down at 10 p.m. were a personality defect. I thought of every time she praised Callan for babysitting his own daughter while I cooked for 12 people. I screenshot the text. Then I replied, Lyra is safe. Please communicate in writing. She answered immediately, Nola, don't take that tone with me. Screenshot. Nola, Sloane is a lovely woman. Whatever happened between you adults should not affect Callan's relationship with his daughter. There it was again. Sloane was lovely. I was tone. I drove to Merritt's office and handed her the folder. She read the email first. Briar is aware. Her eyes sharpened. That sentence is useful. I thought you'd say that. You're learning. I hate that. Most useful lessons are hateful. She read Tess's notes next. Tess had written a statement in careful block letters before June could stop her. It described Sloane's visits, Lyra's confusion, the gift bag, the comment about Briar knowing what Callan wanted her to know. Merritt set the page down. We file today. My breath caught. Emergency custody. Temporary orders. Decision-making restrictions. No third-party romantic partner. Contact. School pickup controls. Communication through a parenting app. We ask for supervised exchanges until the court hears more. Will we get all that? No honest lawyer promises outcomes. But your husband gave us a strong opening. I sat back. A strong opening. The phrase felt brutal. My daughter's fear was an opening. My humiliation at the daycare was an opening. Callan's arrogance was an opening. Merritt saw my face. I know, she said, softer. I don't mean to reduce it. I need you to reduce it, I said. I need someone to turn it into something usable. She nodded once. Then yes, this is usable. While her office prepared filings, I sat in the waiting area and opened our household budgeting spreadsheet. For 7 years, I had kept the family system running in neat tabs: mortgage, utilities, childcare, insurance, groceries, Nola medical support, Callan business events, vacation, emergency. I had color-coded our life. Now I duplicated the file and renamed it marital spending review. Then I began looking. The first Sloane charge I found was 8 months old. A restaurant downtown on a night Callan said he had a panel discussion. then a rideshare to a boutique hotel, then flowers, then another dinner, then a charge at a children's clothing store 3 weeks after Sloane's first pickup, then the cafe, then a toy shop. I exported statements, I highlighted dates. By the time Merit came out, I had a list. She skimmed it and made a low sound. Household account, yes, any. Agreement about personal spending. We each had personal accounts. Household was for mortgage, childcare, groceries, family expenses. So he used family money to fund the relationship and child access. He'll say the children's purchases were for Lyra, good. Then he can explain why his affair partner delivered them. She added the statements to the growing file. My phone buzzed. Callan, Mom says you're ignoring her. Me. Lyra is safe. Communicate in writing. Callan, stop copying and pasting that like a robot. Me. Lyra is safe. Communicate in writing. Callan, you're making this worse for yourself. Screenshot. Merritt glanced at it. He likes threats. He likes sounding like he isn't threatening. Same thing in a better suit. At 4:30, we filed at 5:12. Callan was served electronically at 5:19. He called. I did not answer at 5:20. He texted. Callan, you filed court papers at 5:21. Callan, are you trying to ruin me? At 5:22. Callan, my company works with schools. Briar, do you understand what allegations like this can do? I stared at the message. There it was. Not Lyra, not safety, not what have I done. My company. I screenshot it. Then I typed me. Lyra is safe. Communicate in writing. For once, he did not answer that evening. I picked up Lyra from Maple Finch through a side office, away from the main lobby. June had arranged it after Merritt called. Tess walked Lyra out holding a paper bag. She made something, Tess said. Lyra handed me a drawing. 3 figures stood outside a purple house. One had curls, one was small, one was a rabbit. The tall faceless figure was gone. Who's this? I asked gently, pointing to the rabbit. Juniper, Lyra said. And this, me, and this, you. No, Daddy, she shrugged, looking down. He can visit if he knows the password. Tess looked away. I folded the picture carefully and placed it in the folder, not as evidence, as a promise. At the apartment, Lyra ate noodles while I sorted documents. After her bath, she asked if the moon bracelet was in trouble. No, I said, bracelets don't get in trouble. Is Sloane? I sat on the edge of the tub and wrapped her in a towel. Grown-ups have to follow rules, I said. When they don't, other grown-ups help make safe rules, like lawyers. I smiled despite everything. Yes, like lawyers. Do lawyers have bedtime? I hope so, she giggled. The sound loosened something in my chest. After she slept, an email arrived from a parenting app called Our Path. Merritt had invited Callan to communicate their pending temporary orders. He accepted after 40 minutes. His first message appeared at 9:06 p.m. Callan, I want to see my daughter tomorrow. Merritt told me to write in my own voice. Not like a hostage. Me. I will follow the temporary schedule once confirmed. Until then, school pickup and contact must remain documented. Sloane is not to contact Lyra or appear at school. Callan, you do not get to dictate who is in my life. Me. I am not dictating your life. I am protecting Lyra's. Callan, Sloane is part of my life. I looked at the sentence for a long time, then I replied. Me. Then keep your life away from our child until a court decides boundaries. The typing dots appeared, disappeared, appeared, then nothing. At 10:14, my email chimed. A social media notification. Sloane Vale had posted a photo. It showed a table at Moon and Milk Children's Cafe, cropped carefully, a cupcake, a small child's hand with a silver moon bracelet, Sloane's hand beside it, wearing a delicate ring. I recognized from the jewelry store charge. Caption, some bonds don't need permission, they just happen. Crescent moon. I stared at the caption, then I saved the post because Sloane did not know it yet, but she had just put the knife in her own hand. The school safety meeting took place in a room designed for finger painting. Tiny chairs lined the wall. A laminated feelings chart smiled above a shelf of wooden blocks. Someone had taped up a poster that said our hands are for helping, and I almost laughed when Callan walked in with his attorney and the expression of a man ready to weaponize fatherhood. He wore a charcoal suit. I wore flats because I wanted both feet steady on the floor. Merritt sat beside me with a folder so organized it looked dangerous. June Calder sat across from us. Beside her was a school legal consultant named Patrick Moss, who had the damp forehead of a man already imagining depositions. Tess was not in the room. Merritt had advised that we keep her statement separate for now. Callan's attorney, a broad man named Vance Eder, opened with a smile that belonged on a billboard for dental implants. "We appreciate everyone making time," he said. "Mr. Rusk is eager to resolve this unfortunate misunderstanding." Merritt did not smile. "There was no misunderstanding," she said. "There was a written instruction. It was ignored." Callan looked at me. "Briar, can we not turn this into a trial?" I folded my hands. "You brought a lawyer. You filed first. You brought Sloan first." The room went quiet. Vance cleared his throat. "We are not here to litigate Mr. Rusk's personal relationships." "No," Merritt said. "We are here because his personal relationship was given access to a child's school." Patrick shifted in his seat. June opened a folder. "Maple Finch has reviewed the account. Ms. Vale has been removed from Lyra's authorized pickup list. Going forward, any additions or changes must be approved in writing by both parents or by court order." Callan leaned forward. "I object to that. I am her father. I have equal rights." "Equal rights do not erase existing safety instructions," Merritt said. "She is making this about Sloan because she's angry at me." I looked at June. "Did the school have a written note requiring confirmation with me for non-family pickup changes?" June nodded. "Yes." "Was I confirmed?" "No." "Was Lyra released anyway?" "Yes." Callan's jaw tightened. I turned to him. "You keep saying I'm angry like anger would make the facts disappear." His eyes flashed. "You are angry." "Yes," I said. "And correct." For once, he had no quick answer. Vance stepped in. "Mr. Rusk believed he had authority to make a practical scheduling decision." Merritt slid a paper across the table. "Then why did he write Briar is aware in the authorization email?" Vance's smile faded. Callan did not look at the paper. June did. Patrick did. The room changed. That sentence did what I could not. It stripped the issue down to a lie. Briar is aware. If he believed he needed no permission, why pretend he had mine? Callan's voice came lower. "I wrote that because I assumed you would be fine with help. You assumed I would be fine with your mistress taking our daughter from school." "Stop saying mistress. Stop creating evidence." Merritt's pen paused. I could feel her approval without looking. Vance coughed. "This language is inflammatory." Merritt looked at him. "The word or the behavior?" Patrick rubbed his forehead. June spoke carefully. "Regardless of parental disagreement, Maple Finch cannot be placed in the middle of undisclosed adult conflicts. We will require written dual consent for non-parent pickups." "Good," I said. Callan turned on her. "So if I'm stuck at work, my daughter just sits here." June stiffened. "Mr. Rusk, with advance written agreement, I travel, I have calls. Briar knows that. And I rearranged my work for 4 years because of it." I said, "You're welcome." His face reddened. Another tiny chair creaked as Patrick shifted again. I opened my folder and took out a single sheet. "Here is my updated pickup instruction. Until the temporary order hearing, Lyra may be released only to me. If Callan arrives, I must be called before release. Sloan Vale is not permitted to contact Lyra on school property." Callan laughed under his breath. "You really think you can ban people?" "No." I said, "I think I can put everyone on notice." Merritt added, "And if Ms. Vale appears, the school should treat it as an unauthorized contact attempt." Vance's voice sharpened. "Ms. Vale has not threatened anyone. She sent a photograph of the child to my client from an unknown number with the message, 'She was happy with me,'" Merritt said. June's eyes widened. Patrick went still. Callan looked at me for the first time that morning. He looked surprised. "You didn't know?" I asked. His expression closed. Vance touched his arm lightly. A silent warning. Merritt placed the screenshot on the table. "Then the cafe post, 'Some bonds don't need permission,'" June whispered. "Oh my God." Callan snatched the paper up. "This doesn't prove anything. It proves Ms. Vale publicly posted an identifiable child's hand after an unauthorized pickup dispute," Merritt said. "It proves poor judgment, yours and hers. My daughter's face isn't shown. Your daughter is not a prop." The words came from me, not loud, not shaking. Callan stared as if I had slapped him. For years, he had performed fatherhood when convenient: holiday photos, birthday candles, company family picnics, short videos of Lyra laughing that he sent to his mother with captions like "best girl." But the daily work, the medicine doses, the preschool forms, the nightmares, the tantrums after overstimulating afternoons, the exact way she liked apples cut, the fear of public bathrooms with loud hand dryers, that was mine. Now he had turned even her small wrist into content. No, June signed the updated school instruction. Patrick signed as witness. Merritt took photos of each page. Vance insisted his signature did not imply agreement. No one cared. Callan refused to sign. Noted. Merritt said that word irritated him more than an argument would have. As the meeting ended, Callan followed me into the hallway lined with cubbies. Briar, he said. I kept walking. Briar, stop. I stopped because the hallway was full of children's names and I would not stage a fight outside the room where my daughter painted butterflies. Callan lowered his voice. This is insane. No, this is documented. You're humiliating me. I looked at him fully. Yesterday, your girlfriend walked into my daughter's school and held her hand in front of other parents. You weren't humiliated then. You were comfortable. His mouth thinned. You want me to be the villain so you don't have to admit what you're doing. I want you to stop giving me material. His eyes flicked toward Merritt, who stood near the office pretending not to listen and absolutely listening. Callan leaned closer. If you cut off my access, I will go for full custody. There it was. The threat had grown teeth. I felt the old reflex rise. Explain, soothe, keep him from escalating. I let it die. Say that in the app, I said. He stepped back. You've changed. No, I said. I stopped editing myself for your comfort. I walked away. Lyra's classroom door opened before I reached it. Tess stepped out holding a clipboard. She's okay, Tess said softly. She's building a tower. Can I see? Tess moved aside through the narrow window. I saw Lyra stacking blocks with fierce concentration. A boy beside her tried to add a block to the top. She shook her head, took it, and placed it lower. Not there, she told him. It falls if you put it there. I smiled for the first time that day. Smart girl. At noon, Merritt forwarded confirmation that the emergency motion had been accepted for expedited review. At 1, Callan sent an hour path message. Callan, I will pick Lyra up Friday at 3 unless legally prevented. Merritt advised me to answer me, per today's school safety instruction. Pickups require review and documented agreement. Sloanvale is not permitted contact. Callan, you are obsessed with Sloan. Me, the issue is unauthorized access to Lyra. Callan, the issue is you can't handle that I'm unhappy. Me, the issue is unauthorized access to Lyra. Callan, you keep repeating yourself. Me, because the issue has not changed. He did not answer for 3 hours. Then Nola did. Nola, we are having dinner tomorrow. You will bring Lyra. This family needs to speak face to face. I showed Merritt. She used will. Merritt observed. She always does. Do you want to go? No. Is there strategic value in going? I looked at the message again. Family needs to speak. Translation. Family needs to pressure. Pressure produced admissions when people thought they had numbers. Yes, I said slowly. Maybe. Merritt's eyes sharpened. Then we prepare. The next evening, I went to Nola's house without Lyra. That was the first consequence they felt. Nola opened the door wearing pearls and displeasure. Where is my granddaughter? Safe. Her nostrils flared. That is not an answer. It is the only one you're getting. Behind her, Callan stood near the fireplace. His sister Marin sat on the sofa, arms crossed. His uncle Reed hovered by the bar cart. Family portraits lined the wall, all navy sweaters and controlled smiles. Sloan was there too. She stood near the dining room entrance holding a wrapped gift with pink ribbon for Lyra. I looked at Callan. You invited her. He had the decency to look uncomfortable. She deserves to be heard. I almost admired the speed at which he chose the worst possible sentence. No, I said, she doesn't. Sloan stepped forward. Briar, I know you hate me. I don't know you well enough to hate you. Her mouth tightened. Nola lifted a hand. Enough. We are not here for cruelty. We are here because a child is being kept from her father and grandmother. I took out my phone and placed it on the side table. Recording. Callan noticed immediately. Jesus, Briar. Transparency makes everyone safer, I said. Nola's eyes narrowed. This is family. No, I said. This is evidence. The room went silent. I could feel the shift. They had expected tears, accusations, maybe a dramatic exit. They had arranged themselves like a jury. They had not expected me to bring the transcript. Nola recovered first. You are being vindictive. Sloan helped with pickup because Callan works very hard. Callan lied to the school and said I knew. Marin looked at her brother. Callan looked away. Uncle Reed poured a drink. Sloan clutched the gift tighter. He was trying to make things easier. For whom? I asked. She lifted her chin. For everyone. Did you tell my daughter I needed rest? Her face blanked for half a second. Callan's eyes cut to her. Nola frowned. What does that mean? I waited. Sloane gave a delicate sigh. Lyra asked where you were. I said sometimes adults need help, that's all. Did you tell her she could call you if she missed Daddy? I was being kind. Did you give her a bracelet? It was a child's bracelet. Did you send me a photo from an unknown number saying she was happy with you? Callan turned fully toward her. Sloane's cheeks flushed. You threatened me at school. I told you not to speak to my child. She likes me. Sloane snapped. There it was not concern. Possession. The room heard it too. Marin looked down. Nola pressed her lips together. Callan moved toward Sloane. Stop. But Sloane had been waiting too long to perform her wound. No, she said, eyes bright. I have tried to be respectful while she treats me like some criminal. Lyra is sweet. She deserves adults who don't make everything bitter. I picked up my phone. Thank you, I said. Sloane froze. Callan closed his eyes. I put the phone back in my purse. Nola stood. You cannot record private conversations in my home. Our state allows one-party consent, I said. But you're welcome to ask your attorney, Uncle Reed muttered. For God's sake, Nola's composure cracked. You always thought you were better than us. I stared at her. I paid your physical therapy bills for 18 months. Color rose in her face. Callan said. Briar, no, I said. Since we're discussing family, I managed your appointments, your insurance appeals, your grocery deliveries, your birthday dinners, and your son's excuses. I did it while raising Lyra and working. You called it love when it benefited you. Now that I've stopped being useful, you call it bitterness. Marin whispered. Mom. Nola sat down slowly. Callan looked furious. Not because I lied, because I did not. Sloane recovered enough to lift the gift. I brought this for Lyra. Take it with you. You can't erase me, she said. I smiled then, small, cold. No, I said, you're doing that yourself. I left before dessert. Before anyone could rewrite the room in the car, I sent the recording to Merritt. Then I logged into the household account and cancelled the automatic monthly transfer for Nola's supplemental care expenses, not medical insurance, not anything legally or morally necessary. The extras I had quietly paid for because Callan always forgot and Nola always assumed. Memo. Pending marital separation review at 9:42 p.m. Nola texted. Nola. My therapy payment was declined. I looked at the message for a long moment, then I typed me. Please contact Callan. For 3 years, I had been the bridge. Tonight, I let them feel the water. Callan showed up at my studio the next day with flowers, not my favorite flowers, that mattered less than it should have and more than he deserved. They were white lilies, dramatic and perfumed, the kind bought by a man who believed apology had a receipt. I had told him twice that lilies gave me headaches. He had nodded both times and forgotten because remembering would have required love in action rather than love in theory. My studio occupied the back room of a converted carriage house behind a stationery shop. It had tall windows, paint-stained floors, and a lock Callan had never bothered to ask about. I was sketching a bear in rain boots for a library reading poster when he knocked through the glass. He lifted the bouquet. I did not open the door. He called. I answered on speaker, with my phone recording on the desk. What do you need, Callan? He looked through the glass, offended. Can you let me in? No, I'm standing outside. I can see that. He lowered the flowers slightly. I came to apologize. You can do that in writing, for God's sake, Briar. I'm trying. That was Callan's favorite kind of effort, visible, inconvenient to him, and expected to be praised before it produced anything useful. I picked up my pencil. Apologize. He glanced toward the alley as if witnesses might grow from brick. I shouldn't have let Sloane pick Lyra up without talking to you. The sentence was close enough to accountability that I stopped drawing. Then he added, but you have to admit you overreacted. I resumed drawing the bear's boot. No. His jaw tightened. I knew you'd do this. Then why bring flowers? Because I love you. The words entered the room and found no place to sit. Once, they would have hurt. Once, I would have searched them for proof of the man I thought I married. Now they sounded like an old password to a closed account. You love being forgiven, I said. That isn't the same thing. His face changed, a flicker of real anger. I made one mistake, 3 pickups, 1 authorization lie, 1 bracelet, 1 secret cafe trip, multiple threats, household funds spent on your affair, your girlfriend texting me pictures of my child, your mother pressuring me, your family inviting Sloane to dinner, Stop making lists. I'm good at lists. They kept our life running. He looked away. Behind him, a woman walked past with a box of envelopes and slowed shamelessly. Callan noticed. His voice dropped. Can we talk somewhere private? No, everything doesn't have to be evidence. Everything became evidence when you started lying. He pressed his hand to the glass. The flowers bent awkwardly against his coat. I miss Lyra. He said that, at least, was probably true, but truth without responsibility is just appetite. I'm not keeping her from a safe relationship with her father. I said, I'm preventing unsafe access and third-party interference. You sound like Merritt. I paid her. I hope so. His mouth twitched despite himself, then fell. Sloane won't go near the school again. He said, good, I'll tell her to give us space. Us. He closed his eyes. Briar, there is no us that includes your mistress waiting politely offstage. I'm ending it. The pencil stopped again. I looked at him through the glass. He held my gaze for a second. I saw the man from our early years. The one who burned pancakes on purpose because I liked the crispy edges. The one who carried Lyra around the hospital room whispering nonsense songs. The one who once drove 40 minutes back to a gas station because I thought I had left my sketchbook there. Then I remembered Sloane's signature beside family friend. End it because you should, I said, not because you think it buys access. His expression hardened. He had offered the coin. I had refused the purchase. I want dinner with Lyra tomorrow, he said, through the app. I'm asking you, through the app. I am her father. And you will communicate like one under review. The flowers dropped to his side. You're enjoying this. There it was again. The need to make my boundary into cruelty. No, I said, I enjoyed trusting you. This is what came after. I ended the call. He stood outside for another minute. Then he threw the lilies into the trash can beside the alley and walked away. I photographed the flowers in the trash, not for court, for myself, a reminder that even his apology became waste when it failed to control me. At noon, Merritt called. Callan's attorney proposed an interim visitation schedule. She said, already, he wants Saturday afternoons, unsupervised, with permission to include appropriate familiar adults. I laughed. Sloane, yes, no, correct answer. What do we counter? Short supervised visit at a neutral visitation center or public child-friendly location. No Sloane, no unapproved third parties, no discussion of litigation, no gifts from third parties. All arranged through our path. He'll hate that. Yes. Will a court think I'm being unreasonable? No. The daycare incident is fresh, and he is already trying to preserve third-party access. That helps us. Again, his arrogance became a brick in my wall. By 3, Vance rejected the counter-proposal. By 4, Callan messaged me directly in our path. Callan, you are making me see my daughter like I'm dangerous. Me. The proposed terms reflect recent choices. Callan, I never endangered her. Me. You gave Sloane access without my knowledge, lied to the school, and allowed emotional confusion. Callan, I did not allow emotional confusion. You're inventing harm. Me. Lyra asked whether she was in trouble. She said Sloane told her mommy needed rest. The typing dots appeared for a long time. Callan, she misunderstood me. She is 4. Callan, exactly. I stared at the word exactly. He meant 4-year-olds were unreliable. I meant 4-year-olds should not have been placed in the position to interpret adult lies. I screenshotted it. That evening, the anonymous post appeared. It was in a local parenting group called Northside Family Exchange. Anonymous member, has anyone dealt with a co-parent who uses pickup rules to punish the other parent? A friend of mine is being kept from his little girl because his wife is jealous of someone he works with. No safety issue, just control. It's heartbreaking when moms weaponize kids. My hands went cold. There was no name. There did not need to be. Within minutes, comments gathered. That's awful. Courts hate parental alienation. Some women can't handle divorce. Kids need dads too. Then one, wait, is this about Maple Finch? I heard there was a scene yesterday. My stomach turned. The humiliation spread digitally. Stripped of facts, I sent the post to Merritt. She replied 5 minutes later. Merritt, do not comment. Save everything. We will address if needed. Do not comment. Every part of me wanted to write the truth beneath that post. I wanted to type. His mistress took my daughter from daycare. I wanted to attach the pickup log. I wanted the mothers with stroller avatars and scripture quotes to choke on the facts. Instead, I saved screenshots page after page. At 8:20. Marin texted me privately. Marin, I don't know if Callan posted that, But Mom is sharing it. I closed my eyes. Then another message. Marin, I'm sorry about last night. I didn't know Sloan had picked Lyra up before. I read that sentence 3 times. Someone inside the family had admitted not knowing. Small crack, useful crack me. Thank you for saying that. Please keep communication in writing, Marin. Are you really going to court me? Yes, Marin. He says you'll regret it, me. He says many things. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, then appeared again. Marin. Did he really use household money? I looked toward the bedroom door. Lyra was asleep with Juniper tucked under her chin. Me. Yes, Marin did not answer, but at 8:42, the anonymous parenting post disappeared. At 9:03, Callan messaged, Callan, dragging my sister into this now. Me. I did not contact Marin first. Callan, stay away from my family. Me. Please direct legal issues through counsel. Callan, you think you're so calm. You're not, you're cold. I stared at the word cold. Maybe cold was what happened when warmth had been used as a weapon against you for too long. At 9:17, an email arrived from June. Attached was a formal incident report. It was more detailed than the first email. It confirmed dates. It confirmed the note in my file. It confirmed failure to contact me. It confirmed Sloan's removal from pickup authorization. It confirmed footage had been preserved. At the bottom, June wrote, Maple Finch acknowledges that established account-specific pickup procedures were not followed. I forwarded it to Merritt, then I printed it at the apartment business center while Lyra slept. The printer spat out the pages slowly, one at a time. I watched the school's letterhead emerge. Established procedures were not followed, not jealousy, not bitterness, not control, procedure, violation, record. When I returned to the room, Lyra was sitting up in bed, crying silently. I dropped the papers and rushed to her. What happened? I dreamed you didn't come. My heart cracked open. I climbed into bed and pulled her into my lap. I came, I whispered. I will always come. Sloan said sometimes plans change. The words were sleepy, broken, but clear. My arms tightened around her. What else did Sloan say? Lyra rubbed her eyes. She said Daddy has a new house in his heart. I went still. What does that mean? I don't know. She cried harder. I rocked her until she slept again. Then I sat awake in the dark, holding my daughter and staring at the printed incident report on the floor. A new house in his heart. People talked about affairs like bodies, hotels, messages, kisses, sex. No one tells you the worst part can be architectural. Someone starts building rooms inside your child's mind. A room where mommy is tired, a room where daddy has someone new, a room where betrayal is explained as kindness. By morning, I had made a decision. I emailed Merritt. I want a child therapist appointment as soon as possible. I want this documented properly, and I want no informal visitation until the emergency hearing. Merritt replied. At 6:11 a.m. Merritt, good, I'll arrange referrals. Also, Callan's attorney requested mediation before the hearing. I recommend we attend and let them talk. Let them talk. I looked at Lyra sleeping beside me. Yes, I thought let them. Dr. Ione Farrow's office had a yellow couch, a shelf of sand trays, and a wooden dollhouse with no front wall. Lyra went straight to the dollhouse. Can I touch it? She asked. Dr. Farrow smiled. That's what it's for. She was a tall woman with short grey curls and a voice like warm water over stone, not sweet, not false, steady. I had chosen her from Merritt's referral list because her intake form asked, what does your child already know? Instead of, what happened? I was beginning to understand the difference. Children did not live in events. They lived in the stories adults built around events. Callan and Sloan had started building one without me. I sat in a chair near the window while Lyra placed tiny wooden figures inside the dollhouse. Dr. Farrow sat on the floor, not too close. Who lives here? She asked. Rabbit, Lyra said. Rabbit has a house, yes, with a purple door. Who visits Rabbit? Lyra picked up a tall wooden figure and put it outside the house. Daddy, does Daddy come inside? Lyra paused. Sometimes. Who else visits? Lyra picked up a figure with painted yellow hair, frowned at it, then chose one with dark hair. This one. What's this one's name? She shrugged. Does this person have a name in real life? Lyra looked at me. I kept my face still. Sloan, she whispered. Dr. Farrow nodded as if Sloan were no more alarming than Rabbit. Where does Sloan stand? Lyra put Sloan's figure at the door. Does she knock? No. My lungs stopped. Dr. Farrow's voice did not change. She doesn't knock. She has Daddy's key. I pressed my nails into my palm. Dr. Pharaoh picked up a tiny chair. How does Rabbit feel when someone comes in without knocking? Lyra moved the rabbit figure upstairs. Rabbit hides. Where is Mommy? Lyra picked up the figure with curls and placed it in front of the door, between Sloane and the inside. Here, what is Mommy doing? Mommy says no. Dr. Pharaoh glanced at me once. Her eyes were kind, but professional. That helped. Kindness without structure would have undone me for 40 minutes. Lyra played. She did not describe trauma in adult words. She did not say alienation or emotional boundary or unsafe adult narratives. She said Rabbit hid. She said Daddy forgot the password. She said Sloane had shiny things. She said Mommy came to the gate at the end. Dr. Pharaoh gave Lyra stickers and asked if I could speak privately for 5 minutes while her assistant supervised drawing outside. Lyra looked nervous. I'll be right here, I said. Glass door, you can see me. She accepted because the assistant had glitter pencils when the door closed. Dr. Pharaoh turned to me. I'm going to be careful with language, she said. I don't want to overstate after one session. I understand. Your daughter is confused. She is not showing fear of her father directly, but she is showing anxiety around unexpected caregiver changes and around the idea that you may not come. My throat tightened. She had a nightmare. That fits. The concern is not just the pickup, it's the narrative around the pickup. If an adult told her you needed rest or that plans changed because of adult emotional arrangements, that can create insecurity. She said Sloane told her Daddy has a new house in his heart. Dr. Pharaoh's expression shifted for the first time, not shock, concern. That is not appropriate language for a 4-year-old. No, I can document today's observations. I can recommend consistency, no unapproved third-party contact, and no adult relationship discussions around Lyra. Courts often take that seriously when framed as child stability. Thank you. She leaned forward slightly. I also want to say this to you as a clinician, not as part of a legal strategy. Do not ask Lyra leading questions. Let her speak. Reflect safety. Keep adult blame away from her. I'm trying. I can see that. The words nearly broke me, not because they were dramatic, because they were simple. Someone could see I was trying. For days, Callan had called me jealous. Nola had called me bitter. Sloane had called herself kind. Online strangers had called women like me controlling. Dr. Pharaoh said, I can see that. I cried in the parking lot after strapping Lyra into her seat, not loudly, not long. Lyra did not see. By noon, Merritt had Dr. Pharaoh's initial letter. By 1, Vance requested a reasonable father-daughter dinner before the hearing. By 2, Merritt countered with 1 supervised 2-hour visit at a family center. No gifts, no discussion of Briar or litigation, no third-party adults, no photographing the child. By 3, Callan rejected it. Callan, I'm not seeing my daughter in some monitored room like a criminal. Me. The option remains available. Callan, she needs normal. Me. Normal was damaged by your choices. Callan, keep talking like that. A judge will love your hostility. Me. I am available for safe, documented arrangements. Callan, Sloane says you're trying to erase reality. I stared at the screen. He had typed it into the parenting app. Sloane says in the app meant for our child. I sent it to Merritt. Her reply came fast. Merritt, helpful. Do not answer that part. Me. I am available for safe, documented arrangements. Callan did not respond, but Sloane did from the same unknown number. Sloane, you're hurting him, and you're hurting her. She laughed with me. She asked if I could come again this time. I did not feel the first hot rush of rage. I felt clarity. Sloane needed me to answer. She wanted a fight she could screenshot, crop, and turn into proof that I was unstable. I saved the message. Then I blocked the number. 10 minutes later, another unknown number texted. Sloane, blocking me doesn't change the fact that Callan loves me. Save. Block another number at 502. Sloane, you can control pickup lists, not feelings. Save. Block at 531. Merritt sent a cease and desist letter to Sloane Vale regarding direct contact, harassment, and use of images or references to Lyra. At 5:48, Sloane deleted the moon caption post. At 6:10, Callan messaged through our path. Callan, did you threaten Sloane legally now? Are you proud of yourself? Me. Sloane is not to contact me or Lyra. Callan, she was trying to help me. Me. Sloane is not to contact me or Lyra. Callan, you are punishing anyone who cares about us. Me. There is no us involving Sloane. He went silent at 7:25. Marin called. I did not answer. She texted, Marin, please pick up, it's about Mom. I hesitated, then called back with recording enabled after telling her, I'm recording, I said. Marin sighed. At this point, fine, what happened? Mom's telling people you cut off her therapy and stole money. I closed my eyes. I stopped paying optional expenses from funds under legal review. Callan can pay his mother's bills. I know, Marin said quickly. I know. I looked at some old emails. You were the one managing everything. Why are you telling me? Because she's planning another dinner. No, she wants Uncle Reed, Aunt Elise, people from church, everyone. She wants to make you sit down and explain why you're destroying the family. I almost laughed. A public correction disguised as concern. Tell her I'm unavailable. She won't listen. She doesn't need to. Marin was quiet for a moment, then she said, was he always like this? I looked toward the bedroom, where Lyra was arranging stuffed animals into a classroom. No, I said. Then I reconsidered. Maybe. But it was easier to miss when the damage was only mine. Marin exhaled shakily. I'm sorry, she said. That made 2 apologies from inside Callan's family. Small cracks widened. The next morning, the emergency hearing was scheduled for the following Tuesday. Temporary orders would be decided in 5 days. 5 days was an eternity when boundaries were fresh and men-like. Callan felt doors closing. Merritt warned me. He may try a grand gesture. He already brought flowers. That was for you. He may try one for the child. She was right. Friday afternoon, I arrived at Maple Finch 10 minutes early. The front desk was tense. June stood near the door. Tess hovered at the classroom entrance. What happened? I asked. June's face was pale. Mr. Rusk came at 2:30. My whole body went cold. Where is Lyra? In class. Safe. We did not release her. I breathed once. What did he do? He brought a stuffed animal and asked to see her. We said no. He became upset but left. Did he come alone? June hesitated. No. The answer was already in her face. Sloan. June nodded. My hand closed around my keys. She stayed in the car. June said quickly. But visible. A message, a test, a dare. Did you preserve footage? Yes. Write an incident report. We are. Tess came forward. Lyra didn't see them. I kept the blinds closed. For 1 second, I wanted to hug her. Instead I said, thank you. I picked up Lyra through the office again. She came out holding a drawing. Look, she said, it's the Purple House. This time, the house had a fence, a tall one. I crouched. Who built the fence? She smiled. Mommy. Behind her. Tess wiped her eyes. I added the drawing to the folder that evening. Merritt filed a supplemental notice about Callan's attempted school visit with Sloan present at 9:02 p.m. Callan messaged, Callan, I didn't bring her inside me. You brought Sloan to the school after written notice. Callan, she was in the car. Me. You brought Sloan to the school after written notice. Callan, you're impossible. Me. I am consistent. He did not answer. At 11:11 p.m., an email from an unknown address arrived. No subject. Inside was a single sentence. Ask your husband what he promised Sloan after the fundraiser. Attached was a screenshot of a calendar invite. Callan Rusk and Sloanvale, private strategy dinner. Topic, family transition plan. Date, April 24, April 24th. The second pickup, the cafe, the moon bracelet, family transition plan. I sat in the apartment's dim kitchenette while Lyra slept behind the bedroom door and stared at those 3 words until my hands stopped being hands and became something steadier. Not affair, not mistake. Plan, family transition plan. The phrase followed me into sleep and waited beside the bed when I woke. I did not tell Lyra why I burned her toast that morning. I scraped the black edges into the sink and gave her cereal instead. She declared cereal was better than toast anyway, because toast had too many corners. I kissed the top of her head and tried not to think about adults who had sat over dinner discussing how to soften the corners of her life until I could be removed from it. Merritt called at 8. Forward me the email with full headers, she said. I did. Good. Do not respond to the sender. Could it be fake? It could be. We verify before using. But the date aligns, April 24th. Yes. The second pickup. Yes. I hated how calm she was. I needed her calm. Both were true. What is a family transition plan? I asked. In decent circumstances, a co-parenting framework after separation. In this context, potentially a phrase your husband and his affair partner used to discuss introducing her into your daughter's life before telling you the marriage was ending. Before telling me the marriage was ending, I sat at the kitchenette table, looking at Lyra's purple cup in the sink. Callan had not told me the marriage was ending because he had not wanted it to end. He wanted it remodeled. He wanted me in the basement running utilities while Sloane hosted guests upstairs. Merritt, I said. Yes, he never planned to leave first. No. He planned to make me adjust until there was nothing left to object to. There was a pause, then Merritt said, that is often more convenient for men like him. Men like him again. The category by 10, we had a name attached to the anonymous email, possibly someone inside Callan's company. The calendar screenshot came from a shared corporate scheduling system. Merritt said not to rely on it yet, but she sent a preservation letter to Callan's attorney requesting all communications related to family transition, Sloane Vale's contact with Lyra, and use of company or household funds at 10:30. My friend Ansel called. Ansel was not a new man, not a romantic possibility, not a rescue. He was 61, married to a sculptor named Petra, and ran the stationery shop in front of my studio. He had known me since I illustrated greeting cards for his store in my 20s. You have a man in a suit glaring at your studio door, he said. Callan, no, too square, looks like a lawyer who eats plain chicken. Vance. He asked if you were here. I said you moved to Peru, despite everything. I laughed. Thank you. You all right? Briar, no, good, honest answer. Want me to call the police? Not yet, don't let him into my studio. Already changed the back lock. I closed my eyes. You didn't have to. Yes, I did. Petra said to tell you she has soup. Tell Petra I love her. She knows. Everyone loves Petra. After the call, I opened my email and found 3 messages from clients, 2 from Merritt, and 1 newsletter from Callan's company. Rusk and Pike Learning Initiative announces Children First Benefit Night. My thumb hovered over the subject, then I opened it. There was Callan in the header photo, crouched beside a group of children at a tablet station, smiling with practiced warmth. His company made educational software for early literacy programs. He had built half his public identity on caring about children's development. The benefit would raise funds for preschool access. Location, the Horizon Hall. Keynote, Callan Rusk on Trust, Family, and the First Learning Communities. Trust, Family. I read the speaker list. Sloane Vale, marketing strategy consultant, would moderate a parent impact panel. I laughed so sharply Lyra looked up from her blocks. Mommy, sorry, bug, grown-up email. Is email bad? Sometimes email tells the truth by accident. She nodded as if this made perfect sense. I forwarded the newsletter to Merritt. Her reply came 5 minutes later. Merritt, interesting timing. Me, can they still hold this with the court issue pending? Merritt, yes, but sponsors may care. Do not contact sponsors yet. Let's see who knew what. Do not contact sponsors yet. Merritt was a lawyer. I was an illustrator, but I understood composition. You did not put the brightest color down first. You built contrast. At noon, Eben Pike called. Callan's co-founder had my number because I had designed their first logo 7 years ago for free, at Callan's request. While pregnant and vomiting every morning, Eben had sent flowers after Lyra was born. He had always been polite, distant, and allergic to domestic mess. I answered. Briar, he said, I hope I'm not overstepping. You probably are. A surprised silence then. Fair, what do you need? I received a legal preservation notice today naming company communications. Yes, I need to understand whether this situation involves Rusk and Pike assets or events. You need to ask Callan. I did. He said you're weaponizing a marital dispute. Of course he did. Eben exhaled. Is there a child safety issue? I looked at Lyra's backpack hanging by the door. There is a judgment issue involving my daughter, her daycare, and his romantic partner. I said, I am not discussing legal details without counsel. That sounds like a yes. That sounds like a question for your attorney. Briar, something in his voice shifted. Not soft, serious. Is Sloane Vale part of this? Yes. A longer silence. She's moderating our parent panel next week. I saw. Should she not be? I almost answered. Then I heard Merritt's voice in my head. Let them talk. Let them choose. Let them create records. I can't advise your company. I said, you designed our logo in your kitchen. He said quietly, you helped us look real before we were real, and Callan used household money to take his mistress and my child to a cafe. The sentence left my mouth cleanly. Eben said nothing. I'm done making men look real, I added, then hung up before my voice could shake. 5 minutes later, Merritt called. Eben contacted you. Yes, tell me exactly what was said. I did, she sighed. Not ideal that you mentioned household money, but not fatal. I know, you're human, try not to be too human on recorded lines. Was he recording? Assume everyone is. I smiled weakly, including me. Good. At 2, our path chimed. Callan. Did you call Eben me? Eben called me Callan. Stay away from my company me. Your company contacted me regarding legal preservation. Callan. You are trying to destroy everything I built. There it was again, I built. I looked around my temporary apartment. Lyra's socks on the floor, my laptop open to overdue sketches, files stacked beside crayons. I thought of the logo I drew at midnight years ago, the investor dinner I hosted 3 days after a miscarriage scare, the holiday cards I designed, the soft family photos I took and cropped so Callan looked engaged instead of absent, the childcare schedule I bent around his pitches, the household money that kept his mother calm so he could focus. Everything he built had my fingerprints scrubbed off it. Me. I am protecting Lyra. Callan. You keep hiding behind her. Me. No, you keep standing too close to what I'm protecting. He did not respond. At 3:30, I picked Lyra up. The school felt different now, watchful. The receptionist knew my face too well. June's office door stayed open. Tess gave me a tiny nod. Safety had a texture. It was not comfort, it was vigilance. On the way out, a mother I recognized from Lyra's class stopped me near the gate. Briar. I turned. Her name was Celine. I thought, her twins wore matching dinosaur shoes. I just wanted to say, she began, then glanced around. I saw that post in the parenting group. I didn't know it was about you then, but if it was, I'm sorry people jumped on it. I held Lyra's hand tighter. Thank you. My sister went through something similar, not daycare, but a boyfriend introduced too soon. It messed with the kids. People act like moms are dramatic until something happens. I felt my eyes sting. I appreciate you saying that. Celine hesitated. If you ever need another parent to confirm what happened at pickup that day, I was there. I saw the woman. I heard you ask the director about authorization. You weren't yelling. You weren't yelling. Another small piece of truth. Would you be willing to write that down? Yes. I gave her Merritt's email that night. While Lyra slept, I read Celine's statement. I was present in the lobby at Maple Finch on May 3rd. Briar Rusk appeared shocked but calm. She asked for records. She did not threaten the child or behave aggressively. The other woman appeared familiar with the child and dismissive of Briar's concern. Dismissive, yes, that was the word for Sloane's first smile. The next day, Merritt received the preserved video from Maple Finch under confidentiality. I watched it in her office. There was no audio at first. Just the reception camera. 3:09 p.m. Sloane entered. She wore the cream coat. She typed the code. She smiled at the receptionist. 3:11 p.m. Tess brought Lyra out. Lyra looked back toward the classroom once, then up at Sloane. Sloane crouched, held out the gift bag, and touched Lyra's cheek. My hands curled. Merritt paused the video. Do you need a moment? No, she continued. Sloane took Lyra's hand and walked out. Then the second clip. 4:02 p.m. I entered. I watched myself learn my child was gone. It was strange seeing pain from above. My body went still. My mouth moved. June gestured. Parents turned. My hand lifted with the phone. Then Sloane returned with Lyra. My daughter let go and ran to me. I saw myself kneel. I saw Sloane watch. Merritt paused again. That moment matters, she said. Which? Your daughter's immediate movement to you. Sloane's resistance with the backpack. Your calm. Her posture. You can use posture. In court. Carefully. In public. People understand what they see. In public. Merritt looked at me over her glasses. Callan's benefit is public-facing. We may not need to do anything. But if he uses that stage to smear you or misrepresent the facts, truth may need a room. Truth may need a room. I thought of Orison Hall. Callan at a podium. Sloane moderating parents. Sponsors clapping for trust. Maybe truth did need a room. At 6:00 p.m. Our path chimed. Callan, I have agreed to supervised visitation Sunday. This is humiliating. But I'll do it for Lyra. Me. Confirmed. No gifts. No discussion of litigation. No Sloane. No photographs. Callan, I said I agreed. Me. Confirmed with conditions. Callan, you really think I'd bring Sloane? I stared at the screen. Then I typed. Me. Yes. He did not answer on Sunday. I took Lyra to the family visitation center. Callan arrived with empty hands and tired eyes. For once, he looked less polished. Lyra ran to him, because she loved him, and I had to stand there while my heart accepted that love and boundaries could coexist. He hugged her hard. "Daddy missed you," he said. The supervisor cleared her throat gently. "No emotional burden statements. Please, try. I'm happy to see you." Callan looked insulted. I looked at the floor so Lyra would not see my face. He adjusted. "I'm happy to see you, Peanut." She showed him Juniper. They played blocks for an hour. He tried. I would not deny it. He stacked towers. He made animal noises. He laughed when she put a wooden cow on his head, but twice. He slipped. "Soon we'll do normal things again," he said once. The supervisor noted it. "Maybe next time we can go to Moon," and he stopped himself. Lyra froze. I saw it from behind the observation glass. So did the supervisor. Callan saw it too for the first time. Maybe he witnessed the consequence in her body, not my anger, her stillness. He did not know what to do with it. After the visit, Lyra came out quiet in the car. She said, "Daddy almost said the cupcake place." "Yes, can we not go there? We don't have to." Ever is a big word. "But not now." She nodded. At 8:11 p.m., Callan messaged Callan. "Seeing her in that place broke me. Please don't do this again." I looked at the message for a long time, then I answered me. "Then make choices that do not require it." He replied almost instantly, "Callan, I'll do anything." I did not believe him, but I knew he believed himself. For the length of the sentence, the next message arrived before I could close the app. "Callan, except I won't let you erase Sloane from my life." There was the truth. Anything had an exception. And the exception was her. The night Callan tried to take Lyra from the apartment, rain slapped the windows so hard the glass sounded like it wanted to come in. Lyra had fallen asleep on the couch with Juniper under one arm and a half-finished sticker sheet stuck to her pajama sleeve. I was at the kitchenette table, finishing a sketch of a lion librarian, when someone knocked. Not a polite knock, 3 hard hits, then Callan's voice. "Briar, open the door." Every muscle in my body locked. I looked at the clock. 9:46 p.m. Lyra stirred. I moved quietly to the door and checked the peephole. Callan stood in the hall, soaked from the rain, hair plastered to his forehead. He wore no coat. His tie hung loose. One hand gripped his phone. The other was braced against the doorframe. He knocked again. "Open the door." I started recording, then I texted Merritt me. "Callan is outside my apartment door at 9:46 p.m. demanding entry. Lyra is asleep." Merritt's reply came immediately. "Merritt, do not open. Call police if he does not leave. Record through door." I stood behind the chain and spoke clearly. "Callan, leave." His head jerked toward the door. "I know she's in there. Leave. I want to see my daughter. She is asleep. She's my daughter. You had supervised visitation yesterday, through glass and strangers." He snapped. "You think that's parenting? I think showing up at night and frightening her is not parenting." A door opened down the hall. Mrs. Nadia from 2B peered out. She was in her 70s and wore a pink robe. Her white dog poked its nose around her ankle. "Everything all right, dear?" she called. Callan turned, instantly rearranging his face. "Family issue," he said. "Sorry for the noise." I opened the door only as far as the chain allowed. "It is not all right," I said. "I have asked him to leave." Mrs. Nadia's eyes sharpened. "I'll call downstairs," she said. Callan looked back at me, anger breaking through the performance. "Are you serious?" "Yes, you're making me look dangerous in front of strangers. You are banging on my door at night." "I came alone." The sentence landed oddly. I looked past him toward the stairwell. "Did you?" His eyes flicked away. My stomach dropped. "Where is Sloane?" "No one is here." "Where is Sloane?" He stepped closer to the chained gap. "Stop saying her name like a disease." Behind him, the elevator dinged. A woman stepped out holding 2 coffees. "Sloane." She stopped when she saw the open door. Callan in the hallway, Mrs. Nadia watching from 2B, and my phone recording through the chain. The coffees trembled in her hands for 1 perfect second. No one spoke. Then Mrs. Nadia said, "Oh my." Callan closed his eyes. I almost smiled. "Came alone?" I asked. "Sloane recovered first. I was waiting in the car. He was upset, and then you brought coffee to my apartment hallway." Her chin lifted. "I was worried about him." "You are not allowed near my child." "She's not near your child," Callan snapped. "She is outside the room where my child is sleeping." Sloane's face changed. "You can't just act like I'm some monster." "I don't need to act. Lyra cried out from the couch, "Mommy." That sound ended the conversation. I shut the door, locked it fully, and called 911. Callan started knocking again. "Briar, don't you dare." I gave the dispatcher my name, address, and the facts. "My estranged husband is outside my apartment door with his affair partner. There is an active custody dispute and written notice that she is not to contact our child. He is refusing to leave." The dispatcher asked if there were weapons. "I don't know," Callan shouted through the door. "This is insane." Lyra appeared in the short hallway, barefoot and terrified. I muted the call for 1 second and crouched. "Bug, come here." She ran into my arms. "Is Daddy mad?" "Daddy is having big feelings in the hallway. The police are coming to help everyone leave safely." "Police?" Her body stiffened. "Helpers," I said. "Tonight they are helpers." She buried her face in my shoulder. Through the door, Sloane's voice rose. "Callan, we should go, finally." But the elevator took too long, or pride held him there, because by the time the police arrived, Callan and Sloane were still in the hallway. I watched through the peephole as 2 officers stepped out of the elevator. Mrs. Nadia stood in her doorway holding her dog like a witness. The officers separated them. One knocked gently on my door. Police." I opened with the chain still in place until I saw the badge clearly, then unlatched it. Lyra clung to my leg. The officer's eyes softened. "Hi there." Lyra hid. I gave my statement with my phone recording placed openly on the entry table. I showed the hour path messages, the school notice, the cease and desist letter, and Merritt's contact. Callan tried to interrupt from down the hall. The second officer told him to wait. Sloane cried, not quietly, not convincingly. She cried like a woman who understood that tears often reached places facts could not. "He's just trying to see his daughter," she told the officer. "She's keeping him away." The officer looked at her. "Are you the child's mother?" Sloane hesitated. "No." "Are you listed in any custody order?" "No." "But," then step back. The words were plain, beautifully plain. Sloane stepped back. Callan watched the exchange, jaw tight. The officer who took my statement advised Callan not to return without a written arrangement. No arrest, no dramatic handcuffs, just a police incident report number written on a small card and handed to me while Lyra sniffled into my sweater. But when the elevator doors closed on Callan and Sloane, I felt a boundary become visible. Not emotional, not theoretical, documented. Mrs. Nadia came over after the officers left. "I made tea," she said. I blinked at her. She held out a thermos. "Chamomile. Tastes like grass, but people claim it helps." I took it because refusing kindness had become another kind of exhaustion. "Thank you." She looked down at Lyra. "You did very well." Lyra whispered, "Your dog is small. He is old. That is why he looks like a slipper." Lyra giggled weakly. Mrs. Nadia smiled, then looked at me. "My daughter had a husband who came to doors like that," she said quietly. "Doors matter. Keep yours locked." I nodded. After Lyra fell asleep in my bed, I sent the police report number to Merritt. Her response was immediate. "Merritt, this changes Tuesday." By morning, it had changed more than Tuesday. Eben Pike emailed me and copied his company's counsel. "Briar, I am writing to ask whether you would be willing, through counsel, to provide any documentation relevant to Sloane Vale's involvement with Lyra Rusk and Maple Finch Early Learning. Rusk and Pike is reviewing potential conflicts related to our upcoming Children First benefit night. Regards, Eben Pike." I forwarded it to Merritt. Merritt called. "Do you want to cooperate? Strategically, yes. Morally, also yes. But I assumed that." I looked at the rain streaks on the window. "Callan is going to speak about trust and family to a room full of parents while the woman who helped violate my daughter's daycare boundary moderates a panel." "Yes, I want the room to know. Then we provide documents carefully." "Not all." "Enough, enough." We sent the incident report, the school's acknowledgement, the public Sloane post, and proof of the cease and desist. We did not send everything. We did not send Dr. Farrow's letter. We did not send the family dinner recording. We kept the sharpest knives sheathed. At noon, Sloane was removed from the benefit program. At 12:07, Callan messaged. "Callan, what did you send Eben? Me. Please direct company matters through your counsel." "Callan, you got Sloane removed from the benefit." "Me. Sloane's choices got Sloane removed." "Callan, she is losing work because of you." "Me. Lyra lost safety because of you." "He did not." Answer. At 1:30, Vance requested a settlement call. Merritt laughed when she read it. "First visible consequence," she said. Good, good. But he will escalate before he concedes. He did at 4:15. A new anonymous post appeared in Northside Family Exchange. This one was worse. Anonymous member, update on the custody drama some people asked about. The mom in question has now called police on the father for trying to see his daughter and is contacting his workplace. At what point do we call this emotional abuse? Some women look calm in public because the manipulation is calculated. My hands shook with rage. Then I saw the first comment. Celine, I was at Maple Finch the day this began. This post is leaving out serious facts. I won't discuss a child online, but people should be careful before judging. Another parent replied, thank you. Anonymous posts about custody issues are gross. Then Marin, unbelievably, commented from her real account, Marin Rusk, I'm part of the family involved. This post is not accurate and should be deleted. The post vanished within 6 minutes at 4:29. Callan called Marin. I knew because she texted me at 4:36. Marin, he's furious. Mom too, I'm sorry, but I couldn't watch them lie. I sat on the edge of the bed, phone in hand, feeling the world tilt differently. Not safe, never that easy, but less alone. At 5:00. I picked Lyra up. She ran into my arms. No hesitation, no confusion, just mine. On the drive back, she asked, can our purple house have a dog? Our quiet trip house, our new house. I glanced at her in the mirror. What new house? The one with the fence? I could not answer for a moment. Then I said, maybe. What kind of dog? A slipper dog. I laughed, and for the first time, the future did not feel like a courtroom. It felt like a child imagining a door. The mediation center smelled like burnt coffee and toner. It sat on the 6th floor of a downtown building with tinted windows and elevators that moved too slowly. I arrived 15 minutes early. With merit, a binder, and a bottle of water I could not make myself drink. Callan arrived exactly on time with Vance and a face arranged into solemn fatherly pain. He looked past me first, checking for Lyra. When he saw she was not there, disappointment flashed, then irritation. Where is she? He asked. At school. I said, you couldn't let me see her before this. Merit opened her binder. Today is mediation, not visitation. Callan looked at me. You hear how she talks, like this is a business dispute. No, I said, a business dispute would have better records. Vance gave Callan a warning look. We were placed in separate rooms, because Merit requested it after the apartment incident. The mediator, a soft-spoken man named Halden, moved between us carrying proposals like fragile dishes. The first proposal from Callan's side was predictable: joint physical custody, alternating weeks, both parents allowed to designate responsible adults for pickup and childcare, no disparagement. No restrictions on future partners after 30 days. Merit read it once, then slid it to me. Find the knife, she said. I found several. Alternating weeks after 3 supervised hours, responsible adults, future partners after 30 days, no restrictions. They want to legalize Sloan. I said, yes. Halden returned with folded hands and professional optimism. Mr. Rusk feels strongly that both parents should have flexibility, he said. Mr. Rusk used flexibility to let his affair partner remove a child from school against written procedure. Merit replied. Halden nodded as if this were a weather condition. He acknowledges the process could have been better. I looked at him. The process? Merit touched my wrist lightly. A signal. Let him talk. Halden continued. He is willing to agree that Ms. Vale will not do school pickup for the next 30 days. I laughed. I could not help it. Halden blinked. 30 days. I said, my daughter is not a subscription trial. Merit wrote something on her pad. I hoped it was good line. Our counter remains, she said. Primary physical custody with Briar pending further order. Supervised visitation for Callan. Step-up schedule contingent on compliance. No contact between Lyra and Sloanvale. No third-party pickups without written agreement. Parenting app communication only. No public posting or photographing of the child by third parties. Halden looked pained. That is quite restrictive. So was a locked school gate supposed to be? I said. He carried our counter away. 20 minutes later, Vance came instead. Merit immediately said, no direct negotiation without the mediator. I'm here to clarify. Vance said, you're here to pressure. He smiled thinly. Ms. Voss, Mrs. Rusk legally. Merit said, Ms. Voss personally. Choose based on context. His smile thinned further. He placed a document on the table. This is a temporary parenting agreement. If your client signs today, Mr. Rusk is prepared to cover all marital household expenses during separation and maintain her studio costs. I stared at the paper. Money. Merritt did not touch it. And in exchange, reasonable access. Define reasonable, unsubsidized weekends beginning immediately, and mutual agreement not to introduce evidence of Mr. Rusk's relationship in temporary proceedings. There it was, the real offer. Money for silence. Merritt leaned back. No, Vance looked at me. You should consider the practicalities. Litigation is expensive. Your husband has resources. I smiled slightly. My husband's resources are under review because some of them paid for cupcakes with his mistress. His eyes cooled. A court may not appreciate sarcasm. A court will appreciate bank statements. He turned to Merritt. Control your client. Merritt's voice went flat. Say that again. The room temperature dropped. Vance gathered the document. We're trying to keep this from becoming destructive. No, I said. You're trying to keep destruction undocumented. Vance left. Merritt looked at me. What? I asked. You're getting expensive. Sorry, I didn't say stop. The next proposal came an hour later. Callan requested a private conversation with me. Merritt said no. Callan requested 5 minutes in the hallway. Merritt said no. Callan sent a message through our path. Callan, please, just 5 minutes without lawyers. I showed Merritt. She said, do you want to answer? I typed me. No, he replied. Callan, you used to be kinder. I stared at the sentence, then I typed me. I used to be less informed. Merritt read it and nodded. At noon, Halden returned with a new document. This one was titled Interim Family Stability Agreement. I read the first page. It sounded gentle. Shared healing, child-centered flexibility, privacy, mutual respect. Then I reached section 7. Both parents agree that familiar adults already known to the minor child may assist with transitions, transportation, or emotional support if deemed appropriate by either parent. I tapped the clause. Here. Merritt leaned over. Her mouth twitched. They dressed the knife in linen, she said. Halden looked uncomfortable. Mr. Rusk believes Ms. Vale is already known to Lyra, because he introduced her improperly, Merritt said. You don't get to create a problem and then cite the problem as precedent. I looked at Halden. Take this back. I said, tell them I will not sign anything that gives Sloane Vale access to my child. Halden nodded, but before he left, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I had blocked so many that I almost ignored it. Then I saw the message preview. Sloane, children are just better when mothers stop poisoning them. I opened it. Another message arrived. Sloane, Callan told me you'd rather break Lyra than share love. Then Sloane, you should be grateful I care. Some women would hate another woman's child. My hands went still. Merritt looked up. What? I turned the phone toward her. Her eyes sharpened. Do not block yet. Another message. Sloane, I know you're in mediation. He'll never agree to erase me. You need to accept the family transition. Family transition. I felt the room narrow around those words. Merritt whispered, keep her talking. My pulse slowed. I typed carefully. Me. What family transition? Sloane answered fast. Sloane, don't play dumb. Callan said he was done pretending. He wants a life where Lyra sees us as normal. Me, us, Sloane, him, me, and eventually her. You can stay bitter outside it. Merritt's pen moved across her pad. Me. Did Callan tell you to contact me? Sloane, no, he's too soft. With you. Me, soft. Sloane, he still feels guilty. I told him guilt is not a parenting plan. Me, and you think you should be in the parenting plan. There was a pause. Then Sloane, I already am. You're the only one refusing to admit it. Merritt held up one finger. Wait, another message came. Sloane, Lyra likes me. She'll adjust. Children always do when adults stop making scenes. I screenshot everything. Then I placed the phone on the table as Halden re-entered. Before you present another proposal, Merritt said, you should be aware that Ms. Vale is texting my client during mediation about being part of the parenting plan. Halden's expression changed. Professional optimism died quietly. She is what? Merritt turned the phone toward him. He read the messages. Then he removed his glasses and rubbed the bridge of his nose. I will speak with the other room. No, I said. Both he and Merritt looked at me. I stood. I want to speak now. Merritt's eyebrows lifted. Not alone, I said. In the conference room, with everyone. On record. Merritt considered for 1 second, then she smiled. Let's go. The main conference room had a long table and too much fluorescent light. Callan looked up when we entered. Vance started to object, but Halden raised a hand. We have a development, the mediator said. Callan's eyes went to me. Sloane was not physically present, but she had entered the room anyway. Merritt placed printed screenshots in front of Vance. He read the first page. His face changed. Callan reached for them. Vance did not stop him fast enough. Callan read. Color drained from his face. I watched him reach the words I already am. Then family transition. Then Lyra likes me. She'll adjust. He looked up. I didn't tell her to text you. I believed him. That was the funny part. Sloane had done this on her own because she thought she was untouchable. You told her enough, I said. Vance muttered. We need a break. No, Callan said, surprising everyone. He looked at me. Briar, I never planned to take Lyra from you. The room went very still. It was the wrong denial. I leaned forward. What did you plan? He realized the trap 1 second late. I mean, no, what did you plan? His throat moved. Vance said, do not answer. Callan's hands curled on the table. I planned to tell you about Sloane when things were less volatile, when Lyra already knew her. He looked down, when she already had a bracelet. Silence. When Sloane was already in the pickup system. His voice was low. I didn't think you'd be reasonable, so you lied first. I tried to avoid exactly this. This, I said, is the consequence of avoiding the truth. Halden wrote something down. Vance saw and looked furious. Merritt's face remained calm, but I knew victory when I felt the room tilt for the first time. Callan had admitted sequence, Sloane first, truth later, child in the middle. Mediation ended without agreement, but as we left, Halden said quietly to Merritt, I'll note the third-party contact and Mr. Rusk's admission. Vance heard and closed his briefcase. Too hard in the elevator. Callan stepped in before the doors closed. Merritt moved between us. Don't, she said. He ignored her and looked at me. She means nothing compared to Lyra. I laughed softly. Still not compared to me, though. His face twisted. That's not fair. No, I said, it's precise. The elevator opened at the lobby. I walked out first. Outside, rain had stopped. The pavement shone. Downtown glass towers reflected a pale, exhausted sky. My phone buzzed. Eben Pike. His message was short. Eben, we have removed Callan as keynote pending internal review. You should know before he spins it. I stopped walking. Merritt looked at me. I showed her. She smiled. Just a little. Second visible consequence. She said at 5:32. Callan discovered it. His Our Path message arrived in all caps. Callan, what did you do? I stood on the sidewalk, breathing in wet city air for once. I did not answer immediately. Merritt touched my elbow. Short. I typed me. Your choices are being reviewed by others now. He replied, Callan, you will regret making enemies of me. I screenshotted it. Then I turned off the screen and went to pick up my daughter. Orison Hall had marble floors, glass chandeliers, and a banner that read Children First in letters tall enough to hide behind. I arrived through a side entrance with Merritt. Not as a guest and not as a speaker. Technically, I was there at Eben Pike's invitation to meet with company counsel before the benefit began. Practically, I was there because Callan had built his reputation in rooms like this, and rooms like this needed to see what he did when no one clapped. The event had not been cancelled, money had already been pledged, sponsors had flown in, parents, educators, donors, and local press filled the hall, but the program had changed. Eben would give the keynote instead of Callan. Sloane's name had disappeared from the panel. Callan still attended as co-founder, though Merritt called that a vanity error with legal potential. I called it Callan. He would rather bleed in public than be absent from his own stage. I wore a dark green dress with sleeves and pockets. In one pocket was my phone, in the other was a small folded copy of Lyra's latest drawing. The purple house, the fence, the rabbit, the mommy figure at the gate. Lyra was with Petra, making pizza and watching a movie about singing animals. I had told her I was going to a grown-up meeting about rules. She had asked if there would be stickers. I said probably not good ones. Eben met us near a service corridor. He looked older than he had 3 weeks ago. Briar, he said, thank you for coming. I'm not here for Callan. I know, Merritt said. We need clarity before the event begins. Has Rusk and Pike used any images, stories, or references to Lyra in promotional materials connected to Mr. Rusk's fatherhood narrative? Eben looked pained. We pulled one slide. My stomach dropped. What slide? I asked. He signaled to a woman from company counsel, who opened a laptop. The slide appeared, Callan holding Lyra at a company picnic 2 years earlier. Her face was turned partly toward the camera, laughing. Beside it, a quote from Callan, "The first classroom is trust. As parents, we choose who gets to stand at the gate for a second." Sound left the world at the gate. I gripped the edge of the table. Merritt's voice turned to ice. "That image is not to be used. It has been removed," counsel said quickly. "Has it been distributed in an earlier sponsor packet?" Merritt looked at me. "I could not speak yet," Eben said quietly. "I'm sorry, I didn't know." I found my voice. "You didn't know he was using my daughter as a metaphor for trust while he let his mistress take her from school?" Eben closed his eyes. "No." The side door opened behind us. Callan walked in. He stopped when he saw me standing beside the laptop. Then he saw the slide. His face went blank. "Who showed her that?" he asked. Eben turned. "It was in the sponsor packet." Callan's eyes cut to him. "It was pulled after legal review," Eben said. Callan laughed, short and bitter. "Legal review? Is that what we're calling my wife's revenge campaign now?" Merritt stepped forward. "Careful." Callan ignored her. The polished exhaustion was gone. The apology flowers were gone. The concerned father was gone. What remained was a man whose favorite mirrors had begun turning into windows. He looked at me. "You got what you wanted." Sloane's humiliated. "I'm off keynote. My company is questioning me." "Ah. You done?" "No." A muscle jumped in his jaw. "What else do you want?" I thought of Lyra asking if she was in trouble. "I want you to stop pretending consequences are attacks." He stepped closer. Eben moved slightly, not between us, but ready. "I wanted a peaceful transition." Callan said. There it was again. Transition. Eben heard it. Company counsel heard it. Merritt definitely heard it. A transition from what to what? I asked. Callan realized too late. His eyes flicked to Merritt's phone recording. "Always assume everyone is." He straightened. "From conflict to co-parenting." "No," I said. "You wanted a transition from me being unaware to me being cornered." "That's ridiculous. You added Sloane to Daycare on April 9th. She picked Lyra up April 10th, again April 24th. That same night you had a calendar event called Family Transition Plan." Eben's head turned sharply toward Callan. Callan's face flushed. "That was private. That was my child. Everything is your child when you need a shield." The sentence cracked across the room. Company counsel went still. Merritt said softly, "Mr. Rusk." But he was too angry now, too far past strategy. "You think motherhood makes you untouchable," he said. "You think because you cry safety, no one can question you." "I haven't cried safety," I said. "I documented it." He laughed again. "You've documented everything except how impossible you were to live with." There it was, the pivot from evidence to character. I looked at Eben. "Is there a room where sponsors and school partners are gathering?" Eben blinked. "The East reception room." Callan's eyes narrowed. "What are you doing?" I turned back to him. "You keep saying I'm lying, exaggerating, weaponizing, manipulating. You said it online through other people. You said it to your family. You said it to your company. So let's stop whispering." Merritt touched my arm. "Briar." I looked at her. "Legally careful," she said. "Factually exact." I answered. She held my gaze for 1 second, then nodded. "We did not storm the stage. This was not a movie where the betrayed wife grabbed a microphone and screamed over violin music. That would have helped Callan. He knew how to survive emotion. We chose a room." Eben asked the lead sponsor, the school partnership director, company counsel, and 2 board members to step into the East reception room for an urgent governance clarification. It sounded boring enough to be devastating. Callan came because not coming would look worse. Vance arrived red-faced 10 minutes later. Sloane arrived without being invited. Of course she did. She wore navy satin and a wounded expression. Her badge still said guest, though her role had been removed. She looked at me like I had stolen her evening. I almost admired the blindness. The room held 23 people when the door closed. Not the whole benefit. Enough. Eben spoke first. "Thank you for stepping in. Due to pending legal concerns involving child safety, unauthorized school access, and potential misuse of company-associated family narratives, we need to clarify that Rusk and Pike is reviewing internal conduct. Briar Voss has provided documentation relevant to those concerns." Callan exploded. "This is my personal life." A woman from a preschool literacy foundation looked at him. "You build products for schools." Silence. Merritt set a slim folder on the table. "We are not here to discuss adultery," she said. "We are here because Mr. Rusk gave his romantic partner access to his 4-year-old child's daycare pickup system. represented in writing. That the child's mother was aware when she was not, and continued attempts at contact after written restriction. Vance stood. This is defamatory. Merritt slid the first page forward. This is Mr. Rusk's email. Briar is aware. The room read it. I watched faces change in sequence, confusion, recognition, discomfort, Callan said. I assumed she would be. Merritt added the school note. Any pickup changes involving non-family adults must be confirmed with Briar Rusk directly, then the incident report. Established account-specific pickup procedures were not followed. Then the screenshot of Sloane's post. Some bonds don't need permission. Sloane went white. That was taken out of context. She said. I looked at her. The context was my daughter's hand. A board member, an older man with silver eyebrows, looked at Callan. Is this your child? Callan said nothing. Eben answered. Yes. The room went colder. Vance tried again. This is a custody dispute. Emotions are high. Then here is the police. Incident report from Mr. Rusk's late-night visit to Mrs. Rusk's temporary residence with MS. Vale present. Merritt said. Sloane whispered. I stayed in the hall. No one looked reassured. Then Merritt did something I did not expect. She stopped. She looked at me. This next part is yours if you want it. I knew what she meant. The video. Maple Finch had released it under legal constraints. We could not broadcast it publicly without risking other children's privacy, but Merritt had prepared a redacted clip focused on the adult interaction, faces of unrelated children blurred. Eben's counsel had reviewed enough to allow a closed-room viewing for governance purposes. I thought I would feel triumph. Instead, I felt tired. Then I thought of Callan's slide. As parents, we choose who gets to stand at the gate. Yes, I said. The clip played on the wall monitor. No audio. Sloane entering, Sloane typing, Lyra being brought out, Sloane crouching with the gift bag, Lyra leaving, then me entering, me stopping, me asking, me turning toward June, then Sloane returning with Lyra, Lyra letting go and running to me kneeling, Sloane holding the backpack strap. A beat too long. The room watched in silence. No one needed narration. When the clip ended, Sloane was crying quietly now. Better acting or real fear. I cared about her, she said. The preschool foundation woman looked at her with open disgust. You were not her parent. Sloane flinched. Callan's face was gray. He looked at the frozen screen where Lyra's small blurred figure ran toward me. For 1 second, I wondered if he finally saw it. Then he turned to me. You didn't have to do this here. I felt something inside me release. Even now, the harm was not that he had done it. The harm was that people had seen. Yes, I said, I did. Sloane wiped her face. Callan told me the marriage was over. The room shifted again. Callan looked at her sharply. Sloane, no. Her voice rose. No, you don't get to let me take all of this. You said Briar knew enough. You said she would adjust. You said Lyra needed to know me before the separation so it wouldn't feel sudden. Every word landed. Callan went still. Vance whispered, stop talking. But Sloane was bleeding pride now, and pride makes terrible witnesses. You said after the benefit, once the funding closed, you'd tell everyone we had handled it maturely. You said Briar would never blow up her own family image because she was too careful. I looked at Callan. There he was, not careless, calculating, not confused, patient. The room saw him too. Eben sat down slowly, as if his knees had lost interest in loyalty. Merritt's pen moved. The preschool foundation woman stood. Our organization is suspending partnership review pending investigation, she said. A sponsor representative followed. Same for our pledge. Callan turned to Eben. You're going to let them do this? Eben's face was hard. You did this. For the first time, Callan had no room left to perform in. Sloane looked around. Realizing she had not become the wronged woman, she had become the evidence. She grabbed her clutch and left. No one followed. Callan watched the door close behind her. Then he looked back at me, his voice lowered. What do you want from me now? I thought about that. The old answer would have been love, then apology, then honesty, then repair. Now the answer was simple. Distance. I said. The word hurt him more than anger would have. The benefit went on without Callan speaking. Eben gave a short statement about accountability and child safety. He did not name me. He did not need to. The people who needed facts had facts. By 9, local education donors were whispering. By 10, Rusk and Pike announced an internal review. By midnight, Sloane's consulting profile no longer listed Rusk and Pike as a client. At 12:18 a.m., Callan messaged through our path. Callan, I lost everything tonight. I sat at the apartment table, Lyra asleep in the next room. The Purple House drawing beside my laptop. I typed back me. No, you lost the version where no one knew. The emergency hearing lasted 4 to 7 minutes. It took less than an hour for years of marital fog to become temporary law. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. No dramatic jury box, no polished speeches, just beige walls, a judge with reading glasses low on her nose, 2 tables, and the faint buzz of fluorescent lights. Callan sat with Vance on one side. I sat with Merritt on the other. Sloane was not there. Her absence had weight. Callan looked diminished without an audience or a woman to defend. He wore a navy suit and kept his hands folded. Twice, I saw him glance toward me as if searching for a familiar version of my face. He did not find her. Judge Rennick had already reviewed the filings. She asked questions with terrifying efficiency. Mr. Rusk, did you add Ms. Vale to the daycare pickup list? Callan cleared his throat. Yes, Your Honor. Did you inform Mrs. Rusk before doing so? I believed. That is not my question. He swallowed. No. Did you state in writing that Mrs. Rusk was aware? Yes. Was that true? No. The word was quiet, but it existed. I stared at the table. Merritt's shoe touched mine under it. A grounding pressure. Judge Rennick turned a page. Did Ms. Vale pick up the minor child on 3 occasions? Callan's attorney said, Your Honor, we do not contest the dates but dispute the characterization. I asked Mr. Rusk. Callan's jaw flexed. Yes. Was Ms. Vale your romantic partner at that time? Vance stood. Relevance, overruled for purposes of temporary best interest analysis. Callan's ears reddened. Yes, he said. The room did not gasp. Real life rarely gives you gasps when you earn them. It gives you records. Judge Rennick reviewed the police incident report next. Then Dr. Farrow's letter, then the school note, then Sloane's messages. Her face did not change, which made every second worse. Finally, she looked at both attorneys. I am not here to punish adultery. I am here to consider the child's immediate stability and safety. Mr. Rusk exercised poor judgment by involving a romantic partner in daycare pickup without the mother's knowledge and by misrepresenting that knowledge to the school. Continued attempts to include that partner despite objection and pending legal review are concerning. Poor judgment concerning. Judicial language was bloodless, but I felt it like a hand on my back. The temporary order granted me primary physical custody pending further proceedings. Callan received supervised visitation twice weekly, with a step-up review after compliance. No contact between Lyra and Sloane Vale. No third-party pickups without written agreement or court order. Parenting app communication only. No social media posting of Lyra by either parent or third parties. No discussion of litigation, adult relationships, or blame with the child. School pickup restricted to me unless modified by written order. The gavel did not slam. The judge simply said, so ordered. Temporary became written. Callan closed his eyes for one dangerous second. I almost felt sorry for him. Then I remembered Lyra saying rabbit hides. The feeling passed outside the courtroom. Callan followed me to the corridor. Merritt stayed close, but did not block him. Maybe she sensed something I did too. He was not going to rage here. Rage had stopped working. He needed another tool. His voice was raw. Briar. I turned. What? I heard her. He said. I waited. In the video, I watched Lyra run to you. My throat tightened despite myself. I didn't think. No, I said. You didn't. He flinched. I thought if she knew Sloane slowly, it would hurt less later. I looked at him. For whom? He had no answer. That was the answer. He rubbed both hands over his face. I was unhappy. You were married. I know. You were a father. I know. No, I said. You knew the word. You didn't know the job. His eyes shone. Callan rarely cried. When he did, it used to undo me. His tears had been rare currency, and I had spent years overvaluing them. Now I saw tears as moisture, nothing more unless followed by action. I ended it, he said. With Sloane, yes, I believed him less than I believed weather forecasts. That's between you and her. She's furious. That's also between you and her. She says you ruined her. I almost smiled. She should meet you. Pain crossed his face. Good. Not because I wanted him destroyed, because pain was information, and he had ignored every softer form. I don't know how to fix this, he said. You don't fix it. Briar, you comply. You show up safely. You stop lying. You stop making Lyra responsible for your feelings. You stop treating me like an obstacle between you and the life you tried to stage. His shoulders dropped, And us, he asked. The word came out so quietly I almost missed it. I looked at the man I had once chosen, the father of my child, the person who knew the scar on my left thumb came from a broken mug and that I hated cilantro and that I drew foxes when anxious. I could have loved that man for the rest of my life if he had not taught me survival. There is no us, I said. His face changed like something had finally reached bone. Merritt touched my elbow. We should go. I nodded. Callan did not follow that afternoon. Rusk and Pike issued a statement. Eben sent it to me before it went public. Rusk and Pike Learning Initiative takes child safety, school trust, and ethical leadership seriously. Pending internal review, Callan Rusk will step back from all school partnership programming and public-facing family initiatives. It did not say affair, it did not say mistress, it did not say he used a child's school as a doorway for his private life, but it took away the stage where he had planned to stand. Third visible consequence, Sloane's consequences came faster. By evening, 3 posts vanished from her professional page. By morning, her consulting agency profile was gone. Merritt forwarded a message from Sloane's attorney. Sloane agreed to no contact with me or Lyra and demanded that I stop damaging her reputation. Merritt laughed. She damaged it in writing. She said. Nola's turn came next. She called from a blocked number. I did not answer. She left a voicemail. Briar, this has become cruel. Callan made mistakes, but you are destroying him. Lyra will hate you one day for taking her father away. I saved it, then I sent one message. Me. The court order allows Callan's supervised visitation. Please do not contact me outside appropriate channels. Nola replied by text. Nola, after everything I accepted from you, this is how you treat family. I stared at accepted, not received. Accepted, as if my help had been a burden. She graciously allowed me. Please contact Callan for support needs going forward. She did not answer. 2 days later, Marin texted me. Marin, Mom asked Callan to pay the therapy balance. He told her he's dealing with legal bills. They had a huge fight. Family pressure had become family math. I did not celebrate. I did not need to. The bridge was gone. They were meeting the river. The first supervised visit after the order went better. Callan arrived early. No gifts, no Sloane, no emotional speeches. He played matching cards with Lyra and asked about her painting. When she mentioned the Purple House, he looked through the observation glass at me. I did not look away. He said, carefully, that sounds like a safe house. Lyra nodded. It has a fence. That's good, he said. His voice cracked. Fences can be good. The supervisor noted appropriate response. Progress, I was learning, could be real and still not change the ending. After the visit, Callan messaged. Callan, thank you for bringing her me. It was court-ordered parenting time. Callan, I know, still, thank you. I did not answer. Not every olive branch needed to be burned. Not everyone needed to be held. I left it on the ground over the next 2 weeks. The temporary order shaped our days. Lyra returned to school through the main entrance again, but only holding my hand. June greeted us by name. Tess kept the blinds open. Celine waved from the gate. The world did not become innocent, but it became structured. Dr. Farrow continued seeing Lyra at the 3rd session. Lyra placed the daddy figure outside the fence and gave him a mailbox. What's the mailbox for? Dr. Farrow asked. So he can send letters before he comes, Lyra said. When Dr. Farrow told me, I cried in the car again. This time, the tears felt different, less like breaking, more like thawing. Merritt began divorce filings. The word divorce had floated around us since the daycare lobby, but seeing the petition draft made my hands cold. Marriage is strange. You can know it is dead and still feel the formal death certificate like a blade. Petitioner, Briar Voss Rusk. Respondent, Callan Arden Rusk. Grounds, irretrievable breakdown. Requests, primary physical custody, joint legal decision-making with limitations, child safety provisions, division of marital assets, reimbursement review for misuse of household funds, exclusive temporary use of marital residence or offset equivalent, no third party. Contact provision. I read my name 3 times. Briar Voss Rusk. I had taken his name because I thought marriage was a shared house. Now I wanted my own door back. Can I drop Rusk? I asked Merritt. In the divorce? Yes. Good. She looked at me over her glasses. You're sure? I thought of Lyra's Purple House. Yes. That evening, I told Lyra a simple version. Daddy and I are going to live in different homes, I said while we folded pajamas. She held a pajama shirt with stars. Forever, I don't know all the forever words yet, but yes, we will have different homes, because of Sloan, I breathed slowly, because Daddy and Mommy have grown-up problems, and we decided separate homes are safer and calmer. Will Sloan live with Daddy? No. Did she lose the password? The question hit me so hard I almost laughed and cried at once. Yes, I said softly, she lost the password. Lyra nodded. Good. Then she asked for cereal. Children move between truth and cereal with astonishing grace. The divorce petition was served to Callan on a Friday at 6:18 p.m. He messaged Callan, divorce. I looked at the single word, as if he had not built the road and walked me to the edge. Me. Yes, Callan, can we talk before you do this? Me. It has been filed. Callan. Briar, please. I did not respond. At 6:31 Callan, I didn't think you'd really end our marriage. There it was, the core of him. He believed I would enforce a consequence, but not the final one. He believed I would build fences but leave him a hidden gate. I typed one sentence. Me, you ended the marriage when you made another woman part of our daughter's life behind my back. He replied, Callan, I made mistakes. I didn't stop loving you. I closed my eyes, then I answered. Me, love that requires me to survive betrayal is not love I can keep. No reply. For 3 days then, at the next supervised visit, Callan handed the supervisor an envelope. For Briar, he said. The supervisor looked to me through the glass. I nodded. Inside was a letter, not typed, handwritten. Briar, I keep replaying the lobby video. I keep seeing Lyra run to you. I thought I was making a soft landing for everyone, but I was making a trap and calling it peace. I lied to you. I lied to the school. I let Sloan believe there was a place waiting for her inside our family because I wanted to avoid choosing until everyone else had adjusted around me. I know this does not fix anything. I know you may use this letter legally. I am writing it anyway because for once I need to say something without managing the outcome. I am sorry, Callan. I read it twice, then I gave it to Merritt. She read it once. Useful, she said. I nodded. Then I went home and cried on the bathroom floor with the shower running so Lyra would not hear. Not because I wanted him back, because the apology I had needed had finally arrived after the part of me that could receive it had died. The new apartment had a blue door, not purple. Lyra accepted this after I promised we could paint a purple flower pot. It was on the second floor of a small building near the library, with creaky floors, morning light in the kitchen, and a maple tree outside the bedroom window. It did not have the square footage of the marital house. It did not have the garden beds I had planted or the built-in shelves I had loved. It did not have Callan's espresso machine, Nola's holiday china, or the hallway wall where we had marked Lyra's height in pencil. It had a deadbolt I chose. It had a lease in my name. It had silence that belonged to us. The first night, Lyra ran from room to room carrying Juniper. Where does the couch go? By the window. Where do my books go? Where do you think? In my room and the kitchen and the bathroom. Maybe not the bathroom. What if I need stories there? Fair point. She stood in the middle of the living room, hands on hips, studying the boxes. Can Daddy come? I had known the question would come. Still, it hurt. Not tonight. Can he know where it is? I crouched in front of her. Daddy will know the address because grown-ups have rules, but he can only come when it is planned. No surprise visits. With the password and the plan. She nodded, then she put Juniper on the windowsill. He likes it. Good. We ate pizza on the floor. Petra and Ansel came by with soup, bread, and a ridiculous lamp shaped like a goose. Mrs. Nadia sent a card through the building office with a drawing of her slipper dog. Celine dropped off a list of neighborhood babysitters. Tess sent a picture Lyra had painted at school, a blue door with a purple flower pot. I taped it to the fridge. The divorce took months, not because the facts were unclear, but because men like Callan often discover procedural devotion after moral failure. He disputed reimbursement, then conceded some. He requested unsupervised visitation. The court required completion of parenting counseling first. He objected to the Sloan no-contact clause. Then Sloan solved that by sending one final email to his company counsel accusing him of emotional fraud and threatening to speak publicly if he let her take the fall. Vance advised him to stop tying his legal position to hers. He did. Sloan disappeared from Callan's life the way she had entered mine, through documents, a termination letter from her agency, a no-contact acknowledgement, a deleted website bio, a rumor, later confirmed by Marin, That she moved 2 cities away to work for a luxury wellness brand and told people she had escaped a toxic family situation. Maybe she believed it. People like Sloane often keep a small altar to their own innocence. Nola resisted longer. She sent birthday gifts for Lyra through Callan, each one bigger than the last: a dollhouse, a ride-on car, a pink tablet I returned unopened because it had messaging capability and no one had asked me first. Nola left one voicemail after the tablet came back. "You are training that child to reject love." I saved it, then I blocked her number except through the family communication channel. Marin stayed, carefully, respectfully. She asked before sending gifts. She came to one of Lyra's school art shows and stood beside me without mentioning Callan. When Lyra ran to show us her clay turtle, Marin cried quietly. "I missed so much," she said. I did not comfort her too much. Some grief belonged to the person who arrived late. Callan changed in increments that did not ask to be trusted quickly. He completed parenting counseling, he attended supervised visits without complaint, he stopped mentioning Sloane, he learned Lyra's teacher's name, her new shoe size, and the fact that she hated loud hand dryers. He asked through our path whether he could send a book before her tonsil consultation because he remembered she liked foxes now. I said yes to the book, no to extra visits, yes to a video call on Father's Day, no to joining him for breakfast as a family. Boundaries became less like walls and more like language. He did not always like the language, he learned to speak it anyway. The final divorce settlement meeting took place in Merritt's office on a grey Thursday. Callan sat across from me, thinner than before, with faint lines around his mouth. Vance was there, Merritt was there. Papers lay between us in careful stacks: custody, assets, reimbursement, school restrictions, name change. The marital house would be sold. My share would include credit for premarital funds I had contributed to the down payment and reimbursement for documented misuse of household funds related to the affair and unauthorized child contact. Callan would have a step-up parenting schedule tied to compliance, counseling, and Lyra's therapist recommendations. No romantic partner contact for a defined period and never without prior written notice and mutual agreement or court review. No third-party school pickup without written consent. Lyra's school file would retain dual consent pickup restrictions. My name would return to Briar Voss. When I signed that page, my hand trembled. Callan noticed for once. He did not mistake trembling for weakness. He waited until the attorneys finished the main signatures before speaking. "Briar." I looked up. "I know this doesn't matter legally." Merritt's eyes sharpened. He almost smiled. "I'm not asking for anything." "Then say it." He swallowed. "I went to Maple Finch yesterday for the parent orientation." "I know. Tess showed me Lyra's new cubby." I waited. "It has a blue lantern sticker." My throat tightened. "She told me the password changed." "It did." He nodded slowly. "I don't know the new one." "No." Pain crossed his face, but he accepted it. "That's fair," he said. 2 words, months late, still something. He signed the last document, not with drama, not with a speech, just ink. The marriage ended as paper, the way its final truth had begun. Afterward, in the parking lot, he stopped several feet away. "Will she hate me?" he asked. I knew he meant Lyra. "I don't know." He looked down. "But if you stop asking her to carry your guilt, she might know you safely." He nodded. "That's more generous than I deserve." "It's not generosity, it's parenting." For the first time, he seemed to understand the difference. He walked to his car, I walked to mine. No music swelled, no rain began, no new man waited with a better future in his hands. There was only me, my keys, a signed divorce agreement, and a sky the color of clean paper. That afternoon, I picked Lyra up from Maple Finch. The front gate had been repainted over the summer. The paper suns were gone, replaced by paper leaves. June was no longer director. After the internal review, she had resigned. The new director, Mr. Pell, knew me by name and never once called me emotional. Tess walked Lyra out. "Mommy," Lyra shouted. She ran to me with the same force as the day of the video, but this time there was no strange woman behind her, no stolen backpack, no secret bracelet, no room full of parents watching my face collapse, just my daughter, running because she knew I would be there. I caught her and lifted her, even though she was heavier now. "Guess what?" she said. "What?" I told. "Juniper, we have 2 homes and 1 blue door." "That sounds right. And Daddy has a mailbox." "Yes, and Sloane has no password." I kissed her cheek. "No password." On the walk to the car, She skipped over cracks in the sidewalk. Can we get the purple flower pot today? Yes, with yellow flowers, if you choose yellow flowers. And can we put it by the door so people know it's ours? I looked at her small hand in mine. Ours, not the marital house, not the life I had tried to keep alive with. Lists and silence. Ours. Yes, I said, we can. At the garden store, Lyra chose a pot so purple it looked almost electric and a tray of yellow marigolds. She insisted on carrying the little plastic plant marker herself. At home, we spread newspaper on the kitchen floor and got soil everywhere. Roots are messy, she announced. They are, but flowers still happen. I sat back on my heels and looked at her, soil on her nose, curls wild, safe. Yes, I said softly, flowers still happen. That evening, after she fell asleep, I opened the old folder on my laptop, Lyra Safety. Inside were subfolders that had once felt like oxygen: school, Callan messages, Sloan contact, financial records, legal. I did not delete them. Truth did not need to vanish just because the emergency had passed. But I moved the folder into an external drive and placed the drive in a small fireproof box with the divorce decree, custody order, school safety plan, and Lyra's old moon bracelet sealed in plastic. The wedding ring was there too. For a while, I had thought about selling it, then throwing it into the river, then mailing it to Callan with no note. In the end, I kept it in the box, not as memory, as evidence that I had once agreed to a life before I understood what agreement could cost. I closed the box, locked it, put it on the top shelf of my closet. Then I sat at my desk by the window and opened a new illustration file. A children's book editor had asked me to pitch a story about a small animal building a home after a storm. I drew a rabbit first, then a blue door, then a purple flower pot. My phone chimed. Our path. Callan. Lyra told me about the flower pot during our call. She sounded happy. I looked at the message for a long moment, then I typed me. She is, he replied. Callan. I'm glad. No demand, no guilt, no hidden door. I set the phone down. Outside, the maple leaves moved in the evening light. For years, I had thought peace would arrive as a grand feeling, a dramatic release, a final victory where everyone who hurt me understood exactly how much they had lost. But peace was smaller. It was a child sleeping in the next room, a lock I chose, a message I did not fear opening, a name that belonged to me again, a door no one entered without knocking. The next morning, Lyra and I walked to school under a sky full of pale gold clouds. She wore her strawberry barrette. I carried her lunchbox. At the gate, she paused and squeezed my hand. Mommy. Yes, Bug. Today Tess said we can paint houses. What kind will you paint? She thought hard. A blue one, she said, with a purple flower pot and a fence. But the gate opens for people with the password. I crouched and fixed her backpack strap. That sounds perfect. She leaned close and whispered our new password into my ear. Not Blue Lantern anymore, Purple Roots. I smiled. Good password. Don't tell Daddy yet, she said. I won't. Maybe later, maybe. She kissed my cheek and ran through the gate. This time, I did not follow her with fear. I watched until she reached Tess. Tess waved. Lyra turned back once, grinned, and disappeared into the bright noise of the classroom. I stood outside the gate for a moment longer, not because I was afraid she would be taken, because I could, because the gate was doing what gates should do, because my daughter knew I would come back, because I had taken my child, cut his access, and learned that protection was not cruelty, it was love with a lock. I turned toward my car, toward my studio, toward the clean, unfinished day. My phone was silent, my hand was bare, my name was mine, and when I walked away from the school, I did not feel like I was leaving anything behind. I felt like I was finally taking us home.